mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in, say
Oh, God.
So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in a headlock. And he's sitting there.
Helmet.
He's punching me in the stomach, like steady punching me.
Here, and there's everyone sitting around, who here thinks Ochinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team
6 minutes.
for 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. I fucking saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
Be on the Spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
You heard her, or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
Time to start the show.
Why would I have that?
You had in a circus or something.
6'3", I'm waiting. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about that?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they're used to that.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
I mean, you're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah. He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back. Wow, I got something in my throat. That was a bad start.
Oh.
Let me start over. Hello. Welcome back to Mik'd.
The trailer back?
Today is Monday, August 21st. Obviously, I have a case of the weekends.
Oh.
Right now, a case of the Mondays. We had a great weekend. We're back in the studio, back in Cards and Culture here in Perkins Row. A lot to talk about. Listen, week 0 is upon us, ladies and gentlemen.
Here.
And it is here. This
Ladies
is
and
when
gentlemen.
college football officially starts. Is this week. They have college football games that actually count on the record. Not many good ones, but they count on the record. This weekend on Saturday is the first weekend of college football. We are pumped. LSU had their first scrimmage, or not the first, their last open scrimmage. Lloyd liked to corrected me on Friday last week.
No cameras.
It is the last open scrimmage to the media. Okay? That was it. That was it.
But no cameras.
No cameras. All right. We're going to talk about that. I think that there's a lot of good things that came out of the camp.
Unless you're LSU.
It was
Like
the
Caleb Jackson. They had the Caleb Jackson show.
Yeah, right. But LSU was the only that was good for them. They are the only ones that can put out the content that they want to put out. Yeah, they're doing fine. But it was their last major scrimmage. Now they are preparing for Florida State over the next 2 weeks. First game of the season is in 13 days. It is not this Sunday. It's 2 Sundays away. So we're going to get into that, talk about who shined in the scrimmage, who didn't shine in the scrimmage, who kind of got banged up but not, I think, avoided some serious injuries. NFL football is 1 week closer. You have one more week of preseason football. The Saints looked really impressive defensively. Obviously, they're a little sloppy with the penalties, but they win their second preseason game 22-17. Both kickers looked really good. They had 5 field goals. I would like to see more touchdowns. Obviously, the starters didn't really play that much. We're going to get into that as well. Some LSU alumni that have done some really cool things recently in professional ranks. Kayshawn, who we've talked about a lot on the show, who was obviously a former LSU receiver, is playing for the New England Patriots. He's had some ups and downs through camp, but he scored a long touchdown in their preseason game this past weekend. So good job for him. That is a good sign moving forward. Hopefully he makes the team.
Got to imagine that
helps.
that playmaking ability would give you a spot at least.
You'd imagine. That helps.
I would imagine.
And it seems like,
You just had to get that 58 off his back.
yeah, it seems like, what number is he now?
80.
80. There you go. That's better. It seems like, he may have gotten in better favor with the coaching staff. Obviously, those plays will do that. Dylan Cruz, who has been on a tear since he has gotten drafted, he got promoted to Double-A. He leads all of minor league baseball in RBIs since he started playing with 24 or 28, something like that. 20,
in like 6 games.
yeah, something crazy. He got moved up to Double-A. There is some conversation about why would he have gotten moved up right now? Why would he skip a level when there's really no need? Outside of the fact that maybe they're going to put him in the big leagues by the end of the year just to give him a little taste going into next year. Paul Skeens also made his Double-A debut. I don't think that Paul is going to get to the big leagues this year just because of all the innings he's pitched, but both of those guys are capable. I would imagine if they don't get in this year, they will be back. They will be in the big leagues early next year, if not out of spring training. So those are the alumni. That's the alumni update on our brethren that come from LSU. But with it being football season, with it being the start of college football, we're going to dive into that, and then we're going to back into the baseball conversation. Anthony Renato is going to join the show after our first
baseball
break.
to talk about.
We have a lot of
LSU.
baseball. Jay Johnson had his first day of school. He had the first press conference. I'd imagine his team meetings are not quite as long as Coach Maneri's team meetings were, but maybe wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a talker.
If the presser is an indicator, then maybe so.
Hour
An hour and
there's a lot-
15 minutes.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about this
You
year.
had a lot of insight from Jay this weekend. You got to hang around with
did, I
the
did. Got to
squad,
talk to
the
him a little bit,
older
yeah.
players, some of the, he gets to tell you about some of the new players. We have talked about the recruiting class. We're excited about the recruiting class and the transfer class that they brought in, which I guess is part of the recruiting class. They didn't bring in quite as many position players as people probably thought they were going to. They brought in, I think, 2 in the portal. It is pitcher-heavy team, and they are looking a little dangerous on the mound. So we're going to get into that. We don't want to jump right into that right now because I want Anthony part of that conversation. But that's just kind of, a precursor to what is to come.
A precursor also of what is to come. If we're going to jump right back into college football,
Yes, we are.
please understand and know, in case you guys forgot, Jay is just as excited about college football as
Oh, no
anybody
doubt.
else. Like, he is ready.
No
for
doubt.
some
You talked to him about that?
Yeah.
He's ready.
ready.
He's excited.
He's
I think
ready.
he's going to let the boys go out there and hang out a little bit more on Saturdays, so they're going to have some 19-inning scrimmages again on Sunday
maybe.
after the Alabama game.
He's ready, though.
There's not a chance in the world he doesn't run back exactly what he did last year. You don't change who you are.
No doubt.
Tiger
The
keeps
Auburn
the
home
stripes.
game, you're going to have an 18-inning scrimmage the next day is what's going to happen.
8 o'clock?
Not 8 a.m. Not 8 o'clock in the
No, I'm
morning.
saying it's probably going to be 8 p.m. kick. Wake the
Auburn
boys
game,
up.
probably. That's usually what they do.
Bo
That's a
Nix
tough
game.
one.
B.J. Ojulari, one more
Yeah.
sack, changes everything.
Well, Bo Nix is at Oregon. Some people think Oregon should be higher
He's got
ranked.
better odds than
I
Jaden.
know. Some
know
people
what Bo
think
Nix
Oregon.
y'all saw.
Some people think
They saw
Oregon.
Bo Nix playing against the Pac-10 teams.
Yeah.
That's what they saw.
Pac-4. Some
I feel more
people,
comfortable up there.
some people think that Oregon is a higher ranked team, should be higher ranked preseason than LSU. But
Cristobal.
what?
Mardo Cristobal.
Yeah, that's
50-50.
they're on that train. One more note. What are you doing?
He mugged me.
He was just looking at.
He's always having a staring contest with children.
I don't play games with them kids.
He put his nose on the
Four-year-olds.
door.
One more note before we go through the Heineken.
Don't tap the glass.
One more note to finish through the Heineken headlines. Congratulations to Hayden Travinsky. Hayden Travinsky is going to be the new number 8 for next year. Much deserved. Obviously, he's going through a bunch of injuries. He was a huge reason why the team did what they did, especially down the stretch.
Huge.
And he deserves it. I think he's,
Does he know it
he
comes with
fits
the
it
territory?
perfectly. Oh, he does.
When are you
What?
branding him?
Huh?
When are you gonna brand him?
Oh, no brands.
Oh,
It's just
that's
you know,
secret.
I mean, that's a headline, but that's also a Heineken version of the curtain call as
No
well.
doubt.
Because that's for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
For sure.
And then, another part of the Heineken curtain call is, it's football season, so the Heineken Silvers are going to be flowing. Flowing Fridays in here before dude, think about this. Fridays here in Perkins Road, Cards and Culture, everybody gets off of work a little early. There's a home football game happening on Saturday. Everybody's already got the juice. Everybody, top 5 team, everybody's got the juice. People are going to be coming through. We're going to have ice chests full of alcohol, Heineken Silvers in here. Obviously, if you're of age, you got to show your ID at the door.
If you're not,
Lloyd will be checking.
0% alcohol.
If you're not, there is a Heineken Zero.
Had a couple people on them this weekend in Biloxi.
The Zeros?
Yeah.
0% alcohol ones?
Yes.
Everybody's
love them.
Why were you not drinking alcohol?
Well, they wanted to, because it's so hot, they were trying to kind of, and I think they wanted to shoot a better score than what we were currently at on the golf course, so they were like, maybe this will help, and it,
Didn't work.
But no,
Did it
but they
help?
were nothing but complimentary of the Zeros.
Yeah, Zeros are good. Look, they taste good. My brother-in-law thought he was wondering why he drank 8 of them on the golf course and was not getting drunk, and then realized,
Oh.
I'm drinking no alcohol. So that's
That's
why.
what everybody would say. These
It
taste like a beer.
Yeah, it tastes like beer. That's a product.
Pretty famous story, too.
Huh?
It's a pretty famous story.
Pretty famous. Or it's a credit to Heineken Zero, right? But we're not promoting Heineken
They're just
Zero.
saying they're available.
Yeah, we're not gonna have. Look, maybe we'll have some Heineken Zero for those that want the taste of
The
beer that don't
10-year-olds
want to
that
get
wanna
drunk.
come
And maybe
in.
you have to go back to work on Friday, which I don't think you would have to.
No, you're done
at that point.
Thursday.
But Heineken Silver is very fresh.
It's the fall, let's be
It's
honest.
refreshing. It's cool. It's hot outside. Cool you off. 4% alcohol, 95 calories, very easy to drink. So shout out to Heineken for being our OG sponsor. All right, let's get to football talk. All right, let's get to the college football talk, get to LSU football talk. Obviously, we didn't go to the scrimmage. Jay being an alumni, is it an alumnus? Is that the proper way? Alumnus? Alumnus. Being part of the alumni, he had the opportunity to go to the game. He just wasn't able to go. But we have, we had a lot of people there. We had eyes there that had some reports and got back to us. And
LSU's a true freshman starting at running back.
no, that's not true. But LSU did have a true freshman have 2 of the best plays of the day. 2 touchdowns. One was a 75-yard screen pass. The other one was about a 16-yard run where he broke a bunch of tackles and got into the end zone. People were worried about our secondary, right? Hey, where's the depth in the secondary? What's the deal with Denver Harris? Who's going to play? Denver Harris is back on the field, so it seems like he decided to get his act right, or maybe he did enough to earn his way back on there. He's got to earn his way back up the depth charts. He worked with the 3rd team exclusively during the scrimmage. Zay Alexander, who's been showing out all during camp, did it again. He has established himself as CB1 on the team, right? He is the number 1 cornerback on this team. Now, cornerback number 2, I think that's the competition. You have 3 guys that have been playing pretty well. Sage Ryan moved from that nickel position to the cornerback position, moved into the starting lineup for the scrimmage. He went down, looked like with a little bit of a stinger, did not come back. Obviously, it's a scrimmage, so they're not going to force him back. I don't think that's anything that we need to be worried about. And I think another surprise, I don't want to say a surprise, because I think it's something that we all anticipated, was
Kai Prion playing corner.
Zalance Hurd got a lot of run with the ones at right tackle. And Emory Jones moves in the guard, and Miles Frazier sits down for a second.
It's okay.
It's okay. You need 6 or 7 guys who can go in there and play, and you're confident playing, because the reality of it is it's football, and it's a tough game, and it's hard, especially offensive linemen who get rolled up on. You need some guys in that you're very confident to go and play, and I think that's a good sign. It looks like Hurd's making his way into the starting lineup. Like it's kind of, he seems like he's doing what
Emory Jones did.
What Emory Jones did last year, but also what Campbell did too. Like as a true freshman, forced his way. I don't know if he's going to start game one, but it seems like he's putting himself in a position where it's like, hey, you can't avoid what I can bring to this team. Like I am the best guy you got outside of Will Campbell. So all in all, I think it was a really good scrimmage, and we're going to get into that. Y'all didn't see it, but y'all have read about it, y'all have heard about it, y'all have talked about it. What was something that kind of stood out to you, Lloyd? I'll start with Lloyd, and then we'll go through. Lloyd, what was something that stood out to you that you were happy to see, not happy to see in the scrimmage?
Yes.
Or in the reports?
Yeah, lucky enough to Stewie, our guy from the Colada Show, went to the scrimmage. So he was able to give us a little bit of eyes on the field and with what football was going on. So he gave us a little bit of report. And Lance Hurd was kind of the first thing that popped to him being able to get on the field and run reps with the ones. And I think why you say Will Campbell, it feels more like an Emory Jones situation where it might not be immediate,
right?
But they may have learned from what happened last year, where it's
that's
like, hey,
my point.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, now there's like you saw him; he was with the ones, sat down, and then with the twos, and then came back with the ones. So it seems like it's just to a point now where it's like, okay, we gotta put you in there.
Well, and I think there's a kind of a protocol that Brian Kelly likes to go by. You see him talk about with the running back group, where it's like experience usually wins out. And what you have with, Emory Jones proved that you put him in week 3 at right tackle when he was a guard in high school and played a little bit of tackle, but he proved that he could do it as a true freshman in the SEC. You kind of want to give him that first right of refusal to play right tackle because it's just it's almost like a pride thing. Yeah. But if Lance Hurd gives you the best option to be at right tackle and it makes the entire team better, and now you get a little bit of depth, which I think is the biggest testament that Brian Kelly has shown in 2 years at LSU now, that obviously what he did at Notre Dame, offensive line was the calling card, and now what he's done at LSU in a quick 2 years, and I don't want to shirk Brad Davis at all because I feel like he's got a lot to do with it, but that transition has been immediate for LSU to be that good.
I think to your point, I don't think it's more about, I think it's less about, we're going to move Emory Jones. Like he's a freshman last year. He played really well. We're going to give him the first crack at right tackle. I think it's less about that and more about, okay, how do we get both of those guys in the lineup and make it seem seamless? And it's we're going to move Emory Jones to guard where he's comfortable, where that's where we thought he was going to play, and we're going to keep Hurd at right tackle where he's also comfortable. We'd rather not put them out of position technically, right? So to your point, like I think it's just he's earned his way on there, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, you earned your starting spot, Emory Jones, but your starting spot and where you're going to get drafted is probably going to be right guard.
I mean, imagine Emory Jones pulling around at guard. Like that's that's a terrible. Seems like a terrible thought if you're on the defensive end of that.
That's
side.
tough when someone's coming at you, like I don't.
Go back to last year when you saw him make a tackle in the open field on punt.
Yeah, right.
Like the man's an athlete.
I feel like that turns into a very easy conversation for Brian Kelly, right? In a sense,
I tell you what, you look crispy right now.
That's very good. You know,
he looks crispy. I think it's good.
Anyway, so I think that becomes a very easy point for Brian Kelly if you're able to bring Emory Jones in and be ahead. And even if he's making stuff up in the sense of, hey, look, you're on a top 5 team. We have a very good quarterback. We got playmakers. We got a good defensive front. We got a good defense. We have another good freshman that can make this entire line better, right? Not just you better, entire line better. And, hey, maybe there is some teams that want to see you play guard at the next level. I don't think you would make a big deal about it in the sense of, well, what's my ticket to get to the next level, right? On a team in this kind of situation to be able to sell, hey, me getting you inside and me being able to insert this other guy here is going to make this team better, right? So I think that's an easy sell. From looking through the notes, it's very interesting. Like we sat here and talked about the running back room a lot last week, and then all of a sudden you got number 5 or 6 out of nowhere make 2 splash plays. Now, they say through camp he's been up and down, right? Which means to me, young, there's probably been some protection issues. It's probably not, just my guess, probably not super reliable in that aspect of the game yet. And or maybe there's been some fumble issues, right? That's my guess. But when they splash like that, it's hard to take the opportunities away from him going forward. But with that being said, if the pass game is as explosive as we're hearing, you may not have a need for him just yet at the running back position and kind of let him be able to get his bearings in college ball, and you may see him later during the year. That's one. The second thing is as the season starts to wear, with a guy like this who's had a 5-star by his name coming into school this year and has the physical size that he has, I'm very interested to see how Shelton Sampson keeps progressing through the start of this season. You don't know what's going to happen with injuries. You don't know where things may fit for him, what opportunities may be there for him, and he may be another one that just kind of keeps forcing his hand and forcing a way onto the field.
Well, and to your point, I think the one thing that everybody was super confident in was, the offense is going to be very good. Right. It's going to be an explosive in the passing game. You know Malik Neighbors is a bona fide number 1 first-round type talent. Like, he is the guy, right? You have experience on the number 2 side or 3 side, whichever one Kyron Lacey's going to play. Like, you know you're going to get a dependable guy. He's going to be fine. You know what you're going to get out of him. The one guy that everybody was wanting to take that next jump is Brian Thomas. I'm not saying he's not going to.
I haven't heard a lot from him.
As I mean, I don't say
no
he's
bads, but not hurt much on the other side either.
And look, he may be a gamer. You put him on there, lights come on, he goes up. He hasn't done anything bad to where he's not going to play, but he hasn't taken that next step as being that explosive number 2 guy that you expected him to be. Now, he could still do that. And if there was something to criticize, and it's not criticism because listen, these guys have been playing against each other all August. They're tired. They're ready for the game. It's getting monotonous for these guys. And so I understand some of the, maybe complacency and some of the guys, the media seeing these guys over and over and over again. And it's easy to nitpick, especially as you start getting close to the season. So, but if there was something that people weren't happy about, it was, we haven't seen a number 2 receiver really blossom yet and take the reins of being the second playmaker outside of Mason Taylor, right? Like, Mason Taylor was clearly the number 2 option right now, the most comfortable. And who is Jaden Daniels going to be comfortable throwing to outside of those 2? I don't think that's as much of a worry right now as people are going to make it out to be, because, again, when you kind of get in this situation where you're doing the same things over and over and over and over again against the same guys.
Marshawn Lynch.
It just gets tiring, dude. And you're just like, hey.
No, I just would have.
Sometimes give me up against another competition, and I'm gonna be a lot better.
I would have expected a flash play or 2 from him by now.
Me too.
Because you've gotten some noise from Aaron Anderson, you've gotten some noise from Chris Hilton, you've gotten from everybody else, and obviously Malik has been kind of the story from camp at wide receiver. And if you want to look into the numbers, you can. When you saw that Garrett Nussmeier threw for over 100 yards and Jaden Daniels didn't have over 100, but he had 20 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. You can do that game if you want. I don't feel that way. I feel like it's very. We talked to Shay this morning, and he went to the scrimmage. It's very apparent who the starter is. It's not a.
There's no battle.
Slander
it
against
shouldn't
Garrett
be.
Nussmeier. It's he is ready to play whenever you need him.
And Nuss knows
but
it.
LSU has 2 ones.
Right.
But it is Jaden Daniels' job, and it's not a competition.
It's shockingly surprising how quiet that's been, even though I feel like we've all kind of felt like we already knew who it was going to be.
I told you, he looks crispy, doesn't he?
I wonder if y'all are stupid as hell. I wonder if the way he's basically designed the practices and what the media has been allowed to see has been specifically because of that, to quiet that noise a little bit and kind of let those guys play and not have to hear that stuff every day.
No doubt, and that could be the case. Listen, I'm never worried about the wide receiver room. I'm really not. I think the one thing that people may be worried about is, hey, what's going to be the chemistry between the receivers and – did I pull the mic out?
No, you're good. It's making a little weird noise. Something like Oppenheimer.
Well, I don't want that.
No.
That would not be good. People are worried about, who is he going to have the chemistry with? And to your point, Jay, Sheldon Sampson has been progressively getting better and better and better. And maybe he's a guy that you don't want to put in there right now, but week 4, week 5, when you feel like he's got a grasp, maybe he gets more experience, right? He gets more opportunity in the more plays called his number, right? Because you are going to have somebody on the other side of Malik Neighbors step up and take some pressure off of him. And look, Mason Taylor is a great option. I think he's going to have an unbelievable year, as I've said on the show, right? But you want somebody else on the outside. I think Aaron Anderson is going to have his role, but is he an outside guy? I don't know.
This is so, and it's crazy because They're preseason 5, but it hasn't. Outside of 2019, you haven't seen the steamroll here, right? As far as wins and how they've been viewed nationally on the scale. But to me, as we're talking about this team, sounds a lot like the best of LSU days when you talked about, like we're sitting here talking about Sheldon Sampson. At best right now, he's a 4 on this roster. We still hadn't really gotten to an Aaron Anderson. And you figure there's got to be some sort of a way. We just talked about the 5th running back having the best day in that camp, right? So, like, it seems like we're talking about a team where you're like, there is so much depth there. And I'm just interested to see how this thing really plays out. Because even as a 5, like, I feel like they're being somewhat kind of undersold this year a little bit.
It kind of reminds me of that 2007 year going into like the LSU Virginia Tech, LSU Florida State feels the exact same way. Where if you go it, obviously that game was at home where it was. Yeah. That might have been LSU's most complete game that entire year. Yeah. But when you saw it all come together, you're like, oh, good Lord, they might be the best team in the country right now. They just put a statement. LSU has the opportunity to do that this year in game 1 again.
Yeah. For sure.
It's a great point.
Siri's talking to me.
What you saying?
Uh-huh.
Oh, Siri's dead? A little future?
She was agreeing with you. She was agreeing. AI, dude, it's everywhere. No, to your point. Like, yes, I think it's a statement game they can make early on, but it is LSU has historically had all these talented receivers and talented running backs that are just filling in, right? Like every year, someone else will come in, step up, and I feel like they're primed again to do that, right? And so I think the defensive backfield, we talked about this, it'll be the starting backfield that they brought in, the defensive backfield they put out there in the scrimmage will be the most experienced defensive secondary in all of college football this year. Not in purple and gold, but the most experienced as far as age goes in probably all of college football. You have
maybe the NFL.
Sam's got, 7 years?
This is a doctor.
Yep. 7 years.
Dr. Sam.
You have Greg Brooks was at the nickel. You had Major Burns playing. So you had Andre Sam and Major Burns both playing safety. You had Greg Brooks at the nickel. Zy Alexander, who's a transfer, coming there at the number one cornerback.
Years.
Sage Ryan was the other cornerback, which is a junior year, right? Or redshirt sophomore year. So technically 3 years. He got out, but like you have all this experience right there. Now I'm not saying that that's gonna be the starting
20 plus years combined.
That's a lot. It's a lot. And it's not going to be the secondary probably all year, but that may be what you see to start just based off of experience, based off of what you want. I think the more Denver Harris continues to build favor in the coaching staff and talent's going to
shocked.
And here's the deal. He played third team. I know it was a third team. There was not one ball thrown his way or a completion. Like, so it's
always the mark of a good corner when they're quiet.
Yeah, like, oh, he didn't make any plays, but there's also no opportunity for plays. So, like, if he continues to do that and say, you know what, I am this talented and I'm getting my stuff right off the field.
My take from that isn't the fact that he played well. It's the fact that he played.
Right.
Got back in time on Saturday to be ready for the scrimmage because Brian Kelly left the door kind of open by saying the weekend. He didn't say, I expect for him to be back on Saturday by 10 a.m. or Friday, which I'd imagine he got back on Friday.
So here's my question. He gets everything right. Do they take another team picture?
Nah, that's over. He missed it.
You can AI
ready for the picture.
We can AI him laying in front of the group.
That is funny.
What if he ends up becoming All-American this year? Big play in the national championship game, pick 6 to like seal the game.
Real quick.
Hey, here's a picture. Here's a team picture.
Let me put the cart before the horse here a little bit.
Okay.
Let me throw this hypothetical out there to y'all.
Love hypotheticals.
This is the last year of the 4-team playoff, correct? Correct.
And the Pac-12.
And pretty much the Pac-4, right? In previous years, where, like a team where LSU's been looking kind of really from the outside in to jump into that number, could this be the year that really makes sense, I guess, of how it all goes and really upsets the nation, and you see 3 SEC teams make it into the playoffs? Think about it. You got a Georgia team this year. You got a Georgia team in the top 5. You have an Alabama team in the top 5, and you have an LSU team in the top 5. There is a chance that of those 3, there is a way for 2 of those 3 to leave with 1 loss.
Here's the hypothetical. This is how it happens. Alabama does not play Georgia this year, right? In the regular season,
No.
I don't imagine.
No.
So LSU, the loser of the LSU-Alabama
Nick
game,
would have let you know.
that's how it happened.
That'll be a loss.
Right? So whoever loses that game gets one loss. They run through the rest of their schedule. They end up with one loss. That
play
winner
Georgia.
goes there as an undefeated team. Georgia, also undefeated team. Whoever wins that game or loses that game.
There'll be a loss right there.
Yeah, so now you got 2 one-loss SEC teams.
And one that doesn't.
And one that doesn't. So those 3 are in.
And they're all starting the year in the top 5. So like
They're in.
it's not like one had to travel so far and no one didn't really believe in them. Like you believed in them from the start. They ran a full schedule and pretty much played great and somehow stayed within that top 5. I think
You would also have a top 10 win, non-conference win.
That's why
LSU.
this first game is so important this year.
Which it was important last year. We talked about that. Like,
It's the same. You're running back the exact same thing, but if you look back to last year and fast forward to this year, there's no sweeter thing than you can have on your mind than vengeance. You can't fake.
see, here's my deal with that.
See, I do. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, yeah, there is, but let's be honest. Like,
Different team, dude.
We
Can't
not
fake
only
desperate.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. You want to open the season on a very strong, very high note. It just so happens to be that Florida State is the one that's put in front of you for that. But truth be told, of all things be said, they can go there and flop and miss this game and completely run the rest of the table, and they'll be where they want to be. So to basically put all your eggs in one basket as if like this game means the most to them, it doesn't. But to put the world on notice that you're here, that means a lot more than just, oh, I went and beat Florida State.
And to your point, Lloyd, it's going to be similar to 19, right? When they beat Texas, the way they beat them and how they did it with the offense, that put the world on notice. You're like, damn. And then all of a sudden, they just took off because they had all the momentum and all the talent. Same thing could happen. I'm with you, though. Like, it's not all the eggs in one basket. As far as revenge, here's my deal on that. Like, yeah, do you want to go beat the team that beat you last year? Of course you do. But did that team beat you or did you just lose? Did you just beat yourself by fumbling 2 punts, getting a
Missing a field
complete
goal, and getting an
debacle
extra
on
point
special
block?
teams,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yep.
that's, to me, that's on you as a team. Like, you lost the game, they didn't beat you, in my mind, right? And so, like, as far as
That's even worse. It's the worst taste in your
but
mouth.
that's my point, though. But that's not a vengeance. That's on you. Like, hey, we want to go out there because of how bad we played last year and how sloppy it felt like on some of the things that we needed to be tight.
And he's not here.
We weren't. He's not here. He's AD. Promotion.
Promoted.
And I'll put it to
That's
you this
the
way.
luck. Which they're under.
He's gone.
Promotion.
I'll put it to you this way too, Lloyd. Like, if this game, in my mind, if this game was thrown in week 9, then I do think it's more of a this is a vengeance game in the sense of we've
Really?
played a lot of this season. A hiccup here could derail the season. No matter if we go and beat an Alabama after that or go and do some, it could kind of derail the season. So having it where it is, to me, is more of a, hey, man, y'all just in the way. We about to put the world on notice. Thanks for coming. Here it is, as opposed to you throw them later in the year and you go and lose that game. It could mean a lot to your season. But let's just say you go and lose this game and you run the table. Where do you think they're going to be? So how much would this would this loss matter?
I brought this up because of the hypothetical that y'all brought onto the table of, okay, if you lose one game, that means that you beat Florida State. Now it's LSU, Alabama.
I agree.
That
I
means-
just
that means the
but
Alabama
to
game
me
holds your fate.
Yeah,
in
but
your
that means
hands.
but I think it kind of holds your fate almost every year, really.
No, but you can lose the Alabama game and still get in if you beat Florida
you
State.
win that one.
No. I agree with that, but I'm just saying, like, that Alabama game is circled
Always
every
circled.
year.
I think this one's that type of game this year.
Well, but the reason why I'm saying I think that Alabama circled every year is because there is a strong to very strong chance they're going to finish the year with 2 or less. Mm-hmm. So you either have to match that or be better than that to get a chance to get in there.
They lost 2 games last year.
It was out.
And it felt like they lost 10.
Right, exactly. So to me, that's why that Alabama's game is circled every year. But like I said, this game right now, if you went and lost them and you ran the table, like, you're good. But I don't think you look at this game as like, hey, this is our season. You look at this game as like, hey, this is where we launch right here. And it's not really I got
Absolutely.
Florida State circled because of what happened last year.
I think they have it circled for a number of different reasons. First off, the Mason Smith thing, where he didn't get to play. Harold Perkins didn't get to play, and you have a Jaden Daniels that didn't know what he was doing yet. Like LSU was scrambling in a sense to find their footing, and they played okay.
Listen,
to keep it close, but they played the worst game they played all year that day.
No, not the worst game.
Maybe Arkansas.
Arkansas was bad.
Everybody
Tennessee was
sick.
bad.
Tennessee was also special.
Oh, Tennessee was bad. Tennessee was rough.
But we didn't get to start.
I mean, the game was over at halftime.
There was
Game was over after the first kick.
the thing. There's
Switch sides.
anytime you have familiarity with an offense, and you have a team that you understand each other, like it's gonna make it better. So yeah, of course you're gonna be better. It's gonna be sharper because, I mean, you had so many new pieces last year.
That's what I don't think Florida State realizes. I'm sure they do, but there's no tape to look at. LSU has more tape to look at on the Florida State end than they have to look at LSU's end.
Florida State? No, last year. I mean, LSU's returning most of their team.
Yeah, but you didn't get to see any of it. You didn't get to see Mason Smith. You didn't get to see Harold Perkins.
They didn't play against him, but they got this. I mean,
Well, you don't see
that's
Mason
what I'm saying.
Smith, but you still got to watch Harold Perkins.
From what they experienced in terms of like playing.
they just didn't
against
get. Well, yeah, I mean Mason and Harold, but you got a lot of tape on
Yeah,
Harold.
and you can just watch the
Yeah.
tape on Harold for the year. Like doesn't matter what you did against us. What do you look like on film? Now Mason Smith, that's different because you didn't get to play. You played one
two
series.
snaps.
Yeah. So, but you had film on him the year before, right? And he didn't play a ton, but you know what type of player he is, right? So like that, that doesn't make me, we have the advantage because they haven't seen those guys.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that, there's like, unless you're like Jalen Carter type size and strength, or Tyreek Hill type speed.
Aaron Anderson?
No. Tyreek Hill speed. Aaron Anderson's not that. I'm sorry. He's very, very, very explosive.
You got to show me that you're that.
He's not
before I
Tyreek
can
Hill.
even give you that
Unless you
credit.
literally have like those two like kind of abilities, I can see what I need to see on tape to be able to have an idea of what we need to do. Those two type of abilities, when you actually show up and play against it, Trendon Holiday, when you show up and play against it, and you're like, yo, I thought I had him. I thought I was, haloed over him, and I should have started running when he was 8 yards away from me. Like,
Yep.
That's different. It's just different. It's really that simple. So seeing those on film doesn't do it justice when you play them. I think everything else that they've got kind of going, seeing it on film gives you a good idea. Now you just kind of go out there and play.
Well, and I guess to my bigger point is what LSU looked like in that game and what they looked like at the end of the year. I think Purdue is probably their. I mean, you could say Alabama also, but I think that LSU is going to be a totally different team that Florida State saw the first week of the season.
I
That's all I'm
100%
saying.
agree with that.
No
But it's
doubt.
hard to change that
Yeah.
mindset when you're those guys that come back and be like, oh, dude, we already took care of them.
No.
And LSU
No,
has
no. Because what's gonna happen is they're not gonna have much film outside of. I say not gonna have. Well, I can tell you what they're gonna show. They're gonna show them when they played them last year, and they're gonna show them a lot of the Purdue game, being like, hey, if you think you're getting what you got in week 1, this is where the season ended, and this is closer to what you're gonna get. So they're not gonna be showing them the Arkansas game because that's not gonna get that mindset out of what you're saying right now. They're gonna be showing them that first game and that last game.
Best of what they
Exactly.
got. You don't show them when they're bad.
Yeah.
You show the best.
So their players aren't going to show up thinking, it's
Well, you
just
showed the
LSU. We
Arkansas
handle it.
game to see Perk. That was his best game of the year.
Yeah, you highlight him as a player.
Yeah, the rest of that tape's
And
in
you
the
can
vault.
show.
They're not showing that to the
LSU's
team.
burying that tape too.
They ain't
No,
showing that
you
to
can
the
show the defensive. Like the offense can watch the defensive side of the ball because LSU played good defense against them, right? You can watch that side. You're not going to show the defense is not going to watch that offensive film for LSU. They're just not going to, right? It's like baseball. Whenever you would see the pitcher, I wanted to watch him get his shit pushed in. Show me balls that he was getting tittied. I want to see balls in the
I don't
gap.
want to see wipeout sliders.
Yeah, I don't want to see him shoving it up people's ass. I want to see the ball going over the fence, in the gap, base hits, because you know why? Because that's what we want to do. So if you vision that and you see that happening, you do not want to see, it's a little different in football, but like in baseball, it's like, I don't want to see this guy dominate anybody, right? In football, you don't want to see somebody, you want to see what you have to prepare for, right? And so they're not gonna show him.
And Landon Lewis makes a great point. FSU had a week 0 game last year. They do not have one this.
That is a
year.
good point.
Yep.
That is a good point. They don't have this.
Tune-up.
Everybody's gonna be. on the
LSU
same-
could've used
You know who I'm gonna
tune-up.
get? You know, I said I was gonna get him on the show last year. I'm getting him on the show this year. Chris Johnson. He's the hitting coach, the assistant hitting coach in
GK?
Chicago. He's a big Florida State guy and loves college football and talks more shit to me about than anybody. He's been blowing me up. I'm going to see him in Chicago this week.
Oh, that's great.
And so I'm, hey, bro, I need you on the show next week to prep.
Wear his ass out.
Yeah, wear him out.
Let's get him on, too.
Fans talk a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We ran into that last year going into the
They're going to
Florida
show out, dude. It's going to be.
But I didn't know. It's like they were all over every YouTube thing that we put out, and
Coach,
they
they've
were
been
ready.
waiting.
They're searching for LSU Florida State
Yeah.
They've been waiting
to be back.
to be back because Florida State back in the day was nasty. They've been
You know,
waiting
we
to
need
be
to get
back
on. We
there.
need to get Devin Travis on.
We should.
We're getting Devin on, too.
We
Deion?
What are you talking about? Why do you keep
Deion
saying the
Sanders?
wrong names?
Deion Sanders didn't go to Florida State.
Yeah, but I said
we'll
Devin
give him a call.
Travis.
I know. I was just saying, going down the list.
Deion's probably going to be.
We'll get him and
preparing.
Peter Warwick too. We'll get them all.
Yeah, work done. We probably could get work.
We
Probably could get work done.
Anquan Bolden.
That'd be nice. Chris Winkie.
I mean, rest in peace.
Huh?
He's just so old.
What?
Oldest Heisman winner of all time.
I mean, but
He's not dead.
not
That's-
old
I mean,
now.
that's
I
not
mean,
rest in
Jesus,
peace,
dude.
God.
Rest in peace. Like, Jesus.
Aggressive.
To
We'll
his
do that to
career.
him.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, everybody's career's gonna end.
Still going strong over here.
But
Your
yeah,
career's
so,
still going, huh?
Jack, you were at the scrimmage. What did you see that stood out outside of the running backs and the cornerbacks? Yeah. Why not?
It's not a talent issue. I think it's a depth issue. Like their first 11 on defense can compete with almost every other defense in the country.
Do you think the safeties are going to be the guys? Do you think
Yeah.
Andre Sam's going to
The
be the
safeties
starter
are
for
gonna
all
be-
year?
Certain formations, yeah. I think they like Greg Brooks in the nickel, kind of like how Tyrann used to be. Like just put him around the ball and let him make plays.
That's a good point.
And Andre Sam, Brian Kelly has really talked about his leadership back there, along with Major Burns, which we
Yep.
could see last year.
What about
but,
the linebackers?
they're
That's my question about.
they're
that's
both
my-
freaks, and Greg Penn's good too.
I was going to say how
Omar
Greg-
Speights is great.
because
yeah.
you need more than 2 or 3 in the SEC. You need 4 guys at least, 4 or 5 guys to be able to rotate in and out that you feel confident in there, being able to go and stick their nose in there and make some plays.
Yeah. Omar Speights lets them use. Yeah. Omar Speights lets them use Harold in different ways. Lets him just be Harold. So definitely a good pickup.
What about the Weeks brothers? Which one's going to play? Are they all both going to play?
They'll both be backups.
Yeah,
They'll
but
both
like,
get some time.
I was saying backups are important. Like you need.
I think the younger brother probably will get more time.
Yeah, the younger brother's the guy.
Yeah. The younger brother's out there with
The
the
younger
twos and
brother's, I
threes.
think, the player. Yeah, the younger brother's a player.
Yeah,
he's
he's good.
gonna have.
He's
my
a little
point is,
he's a little small, but he's really athletic. So
what
they'll
about
probably
the
use him in
edge
coverage.
rushers?
They're rotating the Texas transfer and then the Swinson kid from Oregon on one side, and they pretty much had Savion Jones on the other, and he looked good. I mean, the offensive, tough offensive line to go against, but I mean, they were like not necessarily getting a lot of pressure, but they were forcing the Nuss and Jaden to move around in the pocket. They got to Ricky a couple times, but I mean, they looked nothing bad.
Did you feel like they brought a lot of juice? Like were they like?
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say which one. I'm not gonna say which guy, but one of them got into it with Emory Jones, and it was pretty animated.
Love that.
No, it was a defensive lineman.
Denver. That's a tough battle if you're Denver Harris trying to go up against Emory Jones.
It's not the one you want.
Oh, no,
Right?
That's a tough one, buddy.
He was quiet, which was great.
That's great. He did it. He showed up. Did it.
Ricky Collins didn't even look his way. Like that side of the field was like not
Yeah.
an option.
Right.
Who was the receivers on the field at that point?
With
That's
the
the real
threes,
question. When Denver was
Kai-
on the field, who's the receivers on the field?
a lot of the freshmen. Samson got some. Kai Preen.
So talented guys.
Yeah, I mean talented guys. Yeah, Kyle Parker was out there with the threes. I mean, he was guarding some good guys, but you could tell he like talent-wise, he's way above the threes. It's just off the field, he's got to get right.
No doubt, and it seems like he's getting that way because he's back. He was back on the field. Like it was a coin flip for me if he was going to actually be there or not. I had no idea.
Oh, everybody was wondering. Yeah, everybody was wondering. That was like the first number we were looking for from the press box was 10 when they were out there warming up.
Man,
But I was really impressed with Alexander all at camp. But Saturday he really got the best of Malik, like most of the reps, 7-on-7 and
crazy that man was at Southeastern.
yeah.
I know, but like, look, and I'm not trashing Southeastern, but like I can like UL, like
They blew him a
your
little bit,
Division One,
probably.
like IUC that, like, but like look, I mean, if you're good enough, they'll find you.
Sounds to me like he plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
I love
too.
that.
I love that.
I love that.
Love that from the defensive side of the ball, huh?
I love that. Got especially the cornerback.
Yeah.
I mean, you know it as a wide receiver. If a cornerback plays with a chip on his shoulder, that's he's up there and he's jabbing you and he's doing these things like that's annoying when you have a cornerback that's like trying to play that way.
Yeah.
Now the incomplete pass sign,
I think a lot of people are a little jaded, and this is no shade towards Colby Richardson, but that type of when you bring in a guy from a lower level school to come start, and he got so much pub coming in, it's like brought an older guy, like kind of the Zy Alexander formula. It was older guy should be at the SEC level. Let's see what he's made of, and then you see him in Florida State, you never see him again. That's kind of what I think a lot of people were reserved about.
I think Zy Alexander's played a lot better than Richardson did coming in.
He had a great camp.
Yep, good point. I mean, that's a risk. You don't know. I mean, he's playing great now. He's the number one now, but yeah, he's got
physical skills than Colby Richardson did, which will let him play more. Like he's a little bit bigger frame corner. He's faster, more athletic. Like he can actually keep up with Malik and all these guys. Where Colby just ran into a good camp and he was a little smaller frame, less of an athlete.
I also think that a big difference is you have like Kayshawn wasn't himself in camp, right? So you were never going up against a bona fide number one guy, right? That's going to be a number one anywhere it could be anywhere in the country, right? Zy Alexander has been. The entire camp has been going up against a bona fide number one guy, and he has held his own. Like he has won some of those battles, and I think that, to me, makes him more battle tested than Richardson was going into last year, just based off the competition that he's had to face in camp, right? And look, you never know. When the lights come on, like me and Jared have played with a bunch of guys who are 5 o'clock hitters. They go out there and they put on a show on BP, and you're like, damn, this guy is unbelievable. And then lights flip on, and they go into their shell, and they just don't do it for one reason or another. It's not because they're not talented. That's just the reason why. So, yeah, I mean, it's to be seen, but I'm a little more confident in that than – it is a bad tag to have.
It's not a good one.
No.
I'm gonna go back to this. I'm interested to see what the Malik Neighbors show looks like.
Do you know how many touchdowns he had last year?
No, I don't, but I can remember going back to camp. The 2 practices I went to, it felt like when they went to team periods, I felt like the ball went to him a ton.
Oh, I can tell you.
Was it 3?
3.
You looked it up?
I know.
That was a quick – 3. That's not a lot.
No, and he was the leading receiver for LSU. I think did he go over 1,000 or 8?
No,
was he around
right under 1,000, or maybe he went over 1,000 in the bowl game.
I think he went right over. But listen,
but that's what I'm saying. If he goes over 3 touchdowns, I think that's you feel. That's insane.
Starting
have 3
last
touchdowns
year,
and over 1,000 yards.
Almost in dead time against Tennessee.
We don't talk about that one.
I mean, is this real over here right now?
I don't know.
Good God.
Finish your thought.
Starting last year, even in camp, Malik was pretty much like the go-to guy. And I can remember thinking back like, man, I'm surprised they're not going to Kayshawn much more, even on these practice days. And then obviously as we saw the season progress, it was very obvious that Malik was pretty much the go-to guy in the offense. So if he's been showing as the go-to guy, and by everyone's account, it's 2.0 and better than what you saw last year, I'm really interested to see what it looks like once game time rolls around.
You know, it's scary. Not scary, but like, so we talked about Logan Diggs and we talked about Josh Williams. Obviously, their experience of the guys outside of Noah Kane. Well, those guys have been out because they've been nursing some injuries. Gives guys like Caleb Jackson, these guys it gives them the opportunity to excel and do the things that they did in the scrimmage, right? And so, to me, it's like for those guys, it's kind of scary, right? Like, especially Josh Williams. I'm not saying he's not talented, but like, as far as talent goes, pure talent, like he's probably not up to par as the other ones, but he's got the intangibles. He's really good in pass protection, but him not being on the field and these guys continuing to get better and getting more reps with the number ones, you know what I mean? Like Trey Bradford looked good, right? I mean, they said he had a lot of good runs. Like, he's been around the block, but he's back.
Redshirt sophomore. Talking about it. Young as hell.
Transfers a lot. Back to LSU.
That Oklahoma to LSU pipeline is real.
No doubt.
Ask Caden Durham.
Um,
In all reality, if you're talking about the LSU and what Brian Kelly has said about it, I wouldn't expect to see, regardless of what Caleb Jackson did in that. I mean, obviously it's fun to watch, and you can see the talent that's coming out of that freshman and what he's able to do. I don't think you see him week one.
Oh, no.
He's going to go back to everything he said. Brian Kelly has been
Unless
experience
they-
wins out. It's going to be Noah Kane, Josh Williams,
unless
Logan Diggs.
unless they put him in there in like a
Leonard
special
Fournette
package where they want to throw him a screen pass or something where because Florida State doesn't know anything about him yet, right?
Well,
they
they
don't
know now.
Huh?
They know
they
now.
don't. What do they know?
I mean, everybody
That he
knows.
took
Mother
a-
saw that.
Every running back in Division I football in college football right now in Division I can take a screen pass against their own team 71 yards.
Time out.
76.
Lloyd,
71.
let me ask you this question. Let me really just ask you this question. You say they know now. Do you really think Florida State is over here game prepping off of LSU's 5th running back on the depth chart in their Saturday scrimmage for the season?
I think hey, he might be a player.
First off, where do they have that video at?
They posted on
Twitter.
Twitter.
So do you think that their game prep,
Hell yeah.
that their film study is coming from Twitter? No.
I do.
No, you don't.
I
No, you
believe
don't.
it.
No, you don't.
I'm
I know
not
you. I know you don't.
bones.
I know you want to die on this hill right now, but no, you
But
don't.
my point is
you don't.
everybody,
Tell me
every
if
running
the
back.
GA didn't walk in and go, Coach, did you seen this?
And he said, "Get out of my office.
95% of the running
But he
backs
saw it.
Get out of my office."
in college
Yeah, worry
football,
about Caleb.
95% of running backs in college football can do what he did in a scrimmage.
I
That's
saw
just,
one do it this weekend.
but that's not like shocking because it's a scrimmage and it's against their own guys and it's whatever. My whole point is if he does play, it's not going to be a ton. It's just maybe a couple special packages to try to get him the ball in space. And
I
that.
wouldn't be
Now,
surprised to see him get some touches
like that, but nothing
he's
like
not going to get the bulk of the snaps. He's not going to be on the field the most.
No.
And like
No.
you said, it's going to be one of those older guys who's probably more trusted in pass protection, who's probably more reliable right now throughout the playbook. That's going to get the bulk of the work, especially to start the season.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, I'm just so excited for football season. I really am. Like, it's been a long month.
It's been a long 2 months.
It's been a long.
July
It's been
and
a
August.
long. Yeah, there's been a lot of conversations about what are we going to see. Looking forward to seeing it. What's LSU going to look like? And we have 1 weekend. At least we have college football to talk about, bet on, and then we have game week.
Yep.
How big of a Notre Dame fan would you have to be to go to Ireland?
I mean, I don't really think that's much of a Notre Dame fan. I think
That's
whole
an
Notre
experience.
How
Dame,
Catholic do you have to be?
No, I think it's just an experience.
the whole
I
Notre
would
Dame
love to go to
mystique,
Ireland.
That would be a great. Yeah,
It only plays for them, right? Like,
or golfers.
I think it really plays for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like it makes sense. But like
Yeah.
if it's an experience, I would go do it. I mean, I'd go play some golf. I think that's a really cool place to go visit. I've never been to Ireland. I mean, people like it's. I don't think it's just for them. I think that's a.
I think they have a market
you
there.
got a little Notre Dame in your blood.
They obviously have a market
don't?
there. It's not going to be
Tommy.
everyone that traveled across.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like when you see the NFL do the Mexico game or the London game, it's not the stadium's not just filled with people that traveled there. It's going to be locals there too. So
Yeah, they're going to be wearing every jersey under the sun. That's a football jersey. It's like, this is just football.
maybe, but maybe there'll be a lot of Notre Dame jerseys sold there, and they'll be wearing those possibly.
Well, that's what I've seen from like the Mexico games. Whenever they go there, they don't know what to wear. They just know to wear a football jersey because this is fun to watch. Or like, especially in England, whenever they go, they just wear a jersey.
Coach, you ever been to a Saints game before? They could be playing the Bucks, and you might see a Indianapolis Coach jersey walking around.
That's
there.
true.
I think that's an NFL football thing. Period. Like you go to an NFL game, you're like, why are you here in this? Why do you have that on? They're not even playing them this year.
Adam Thielen's here?
They're not even playing them this year. Why do you have that on? Like that's the thing. So I don't know.
Speaking of NFL, Saints look
Decent to good.
Sneaky,
outside of
sneaky.
the penalties, which was a lot of them. They look good. I mean, I think Hanner looked good. We're gonna get into that. We're not gonna get into that right now.
It's got a chance.
Special teams guy, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, the one position group I think that is hard to make the team right now in New Orleans is a wide receiver. because you have a lot of guys who are having a lot of good camps. I mean, you had O.T. Perry had a great game the first game. He was out there, he didn't have a ton of catches. Then you had you just had a bunch of guys showing out and doing different things. But what separates John Trey from the other ones is you can put him on the outside on special teams and let him go out and be a gunner, do something. I think that he could do that. You know what I mean? Special team, like a return game, huh?
And he wants to make the team so bad.
Exactly. So Darrell Williams didn't look great, but it's preseason. He wasn't playing with number ones or whatever.
Kendrick Miller looked pretty good.
Kendrick Miller looked
what
great.
a catch!
What a catch! He scored a touchdown. Looked
even
explosive.
with that big ass knee brace, he looked pretty good.
It's nice to see him back out there. All right.
Let's go to break so I can set up Anthony for LSU baseball in hour 2.
I mean, you want to take what I was about to say? That's exactly where I was going.
I thought my mic was off.
Okay. We're going to take a minute break. Set up Anthony so he can jump in. We're going to talk about baseball. Talk about everything, really. You're watching Mik'd, brought to you by all of our sponsors. I was going to say brought to you by. Oh, man. We're going to get to our sponsors on the break. You're watching Mik'd. We'll be back in 1 minute. But before we go into our break, I want to give a shout out to, like I said, we talk about us getting new partners, new sponsorships all the time. We have a new sponsor, and you've probably seen them on the top left corner in the little spinner logo. FCO Solutions. Our friends on at FCO, they're out of Lafayette. They're a civil construction company. They specialize in new multi-family construction, right? If you don't know what civil construction is, that's okay. Probably a lot of people don't understand it. They basically get the land ready to be built vertically, right? I'm giving you a little bit of a construction lesson here. I don't know much about it. I've learned it on the go, right? They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthworks, site cleaning, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. So they do anything that involves dirt, basically, or the earth. And a lot of that gets done before, it has to be done before you are building whatever development you are trying to build. So our friends at FCO have been fans of the show. They are really, really good people. They're down there in Lafayette. If you know anybody from Lafayette, you do know me. Mitch is from New Iberia. I'll consider that Lafayette's 337 area code.
There you go.
337 area code. They are unbelievable people. They do a very, very, very good job, and they are committed to growing and being the best at what they do. So I just want to give a shout out to our friends at FCO. I know that they listen. Appreciate you guys. We are going to be great partnerships. Dozy Place is located on 3723 Government Street. Everybody knows about their Wall of Famous steaks and their hot tamales, but what you may not know is that they're open for lunch every day from 11 to 2. Great people, great environment. Their lunch menu is fire. What's the best thing on the menu?
If you haven't tried it yet, you need to try the burger. Unbelievable. Best burger in town.
Best burger in town. If you're looking for lunch, 11 to 2 at Dozy Place. Again, they're located on 3723 Government Street. Give them a shot. But before we go into our break, I want to give a shout out to, like I said, we talk about us getting new partners, new sponsorships all the time. We have a new sponsor, and you've probably seen them on the top left corner in the little spinner logo. FCO Solutions. Our friends on at FCO, they're out of Lafayette. They're a civil construction company. They specialize in new multi-family construction, right? If you don't know what civil construction is, that's okay. Probably a lot of people don't understand it. They basically get the land ready to be built vertically, right? I'm giving you a little bit of a construction lesson here. I don't know much about it. I've learned it on the go, right? They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthworks, site cleaning, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. So they do anything that involves dirt, basically, or the earth. And a lot of that gets done before, it has to be done before you are building whatever development you are trying to build. So our friends at FCO have been fans of the show. They are really, really good people. They're down there in Lafayette. If you know anybody from Lafayette, You do know me. J. Mitch is from New Iberia. I'll consider that laugh. He has 337 area code.
There you go.
337 area code. They are unbelievable people. They do a very, very, very good job, and they are committed to growing and being the best at what they do. So I just want to give a shout out to our friends at EVCO. I know that they listen. Appreciate you guys. We are going to be great partnerships. Dozy Place is located on 3723 Government Street. Everybody knows about their world famous steaks and their hot tamales, but what you may not know is that they're open for lunch every day from 11 to 2. Great people, great environment. Their lunch menu is fire. What's the best thing on the menu?
If you haven't tried it yet, you need to try the burger. Unbelievable. Best burger in town.
Best burger in town. If you're looking for lunch, 11 to 2 at Dozy Place. Again, they're located on 3723 Government Street. Give them a shot. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. I'm happy to announce that it was not a 30-minute break. It was only a minute and 30-second break, maybe. We are back live from Cards and Culture. We appreciate you sticking with us. Anthony Renato is on the show with us. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. We obviously talking football. Anthony has learned a lot about football over the course of the last couple of years since gambling became legal.
Big football guy now.
He learned a lot about the football world, which is great. But he's always done a lot about the baseball world. He's gone through it with us. So I wanted to bring him on there to get a little bit of an insight on what me and Jared have been talking about, right? Like we've talked about on the show before, the way Major League Baseball is set up and the way the minor league is set up and how they're pushing guys is a lot different than when we came up, right? Like it was, hey, you go down there, you play for an extended period of time and at a level, show that you're ready, you move up. Show that you're ready, you move up. But showing that you're ready isn't 2 week, 3 week stretch. It's a 2, 3, 4, 5 month stretch. Yeah. And now, I mean, you saw it with Shanuel, who I think that's how you pronounce his last name, for the Angels.
Angels guy. Yeah.
The first baseman from FAU got drafted 45 days ago, and then he makes his Major League debut.
Did he do well in his debut?
He got a hit.
He did.
He was like 1 for 3 or 1 for 4.
Led off, right?
Led off.
Crazy.
Which
I didn't even know that.
Here's
in the fire.
Here's the deal.
Wild, right?
I think they let him off because he had Shohei hit behind him.
I mean, yeah, they were obviously protecting him, but that's even crazier.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
like I love that they did that. But it's just like wow.
Right, but like they
Just
pushed
in
him
the fire,
Yeah.
like as much as you could.
Exactly, and they pushed him quick. He got to the big leagues. So I'm saying this because you see Dylan Cruz, who's killed it, right? He's been balling throughout the course of the minor leagues. They move him to AA. Paul Skeens to AA, and they're not going to throw Paul Skeens a ton. You're doing exactly what you said they were going to do. Give him some outings, let him see how the minor league system works, how professional baseball works, and then let him progress that way, and then maybe make team out of camp next year, right? But both these guys are in AA right now, and you got a month left in the year.
They haven't even reached September yet.
Yeah, right? And so, it seems like those guys are going to be up there. Keith Law, who covers Major League Baseball for ESPN, came out and said that I don't see a reason why you would skip a couple levels with Dylan Cruz right now if you don't think that he's going to be in the big leagues this year. Like, if you think that he's going to be in the big leagues, I see that. But I don't see why you would bring him. But it's completely different.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, as a pitcher, right, like, what is, like, Skeens, like, I mean, are they going to throw him up there right now, or are they going to wait?
For Skeens, I don't know. I think it depends, again, right? I said this earlier. It depends on the organization, right? Every organization is going to have their system, their ideas, their beliefs, that kind of stuff. But I think the biggest thing for him is just getting on the 5-day routine, right? So I think that's what they're doing right now is they start him in, whatever, rookie ball, move him to AA, be like, all right, cool, let's see how you do here. Get on this 5-day routine. I think it would be less likely for Skeens to pitch in the big leagues this year than I think it would be for Cruz.
I agree.
Just like you said earlier, innings. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they were like, you know what? Every 5 days you're going to come out of the bullpen, you're going to pitch 1 inning because next year you're going to pitch every 5 days. We want you to get on that routine. We want to get this major league shit out of the way.
Get,
you know
get
what I'm saying?
the butterflies away,
all that
whatever.
stuff. Yeah. The routine, the travel, the stadiums, all that stuff. Get it out the way. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Pirates did that. I just don't know what they believe in. I know they're a lot. When I was playing, the Pirates were super strict on their throwing programs, all that stuff, you know. But Cruz, I don't know.
So I don't, here's my only guess is this. So the skiing side of it, it seems like they want him active, but they don't want him throwing stressful innings.
Right.
Right? I would imagine just if you don't want stressful innings, then there would be no reason, even if you think Skeens is the most capable of all capable people to go up there and deal with it, why will there's just no reason to put you in the big leagues this year? Because I gotta imagine there's some inherent stress in that because you somewhere you've never really been before. And it's, you know, just as many eyes as you've ever had on you before. So I think they want him active and not just sitting until next year if he can be active. But I just don't see a world where they put him in the big leagues this year. Cruz on the other side, now I get it, he skipped the level, which I understand. But I kind of feel like the same thing. Like at the end of the day, like it's August 21st right now, right? So does he stay in Double-A for 9 days and then go play the rest of the year in the big leagues? And then now you have a month? Like if that's the move right now, I'm not going to sit here and say like, yeah, I see it. I understand the logic. But outside of that being the move, why else would he be in the big leagues this year? Just to go up there for 2 weeks? Like that doesn't make any sense. Right?
Yes, honestly, that would be my logic. Just because I'm gonna be honest with you, my third or fourth start in the big leagues compared to my first start, you know what I'm saying? Like just the way your mind works, completely different. Now I don't know what it's like for a position player. That's completely different, right? So I think Skeens I can only speak for from the pitching side, but I would be curious to see where their Double-A team is, right? Say they make the playoffs and they go into the first or second week of September. Right. Hey, maybe they just want to call Cruz up for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Hey, get up there. You're going to get fucking 15 at-bats. You're going to play the field. You're going to get on the schedule. You're going to be on the routine. Yeah, get your cup of coffee. That way next year when we pencil you in as starting center fielder or right fielder, whatever position he's playing on opening day, it's not your first time up there. You know what I'm saying? You just have the opening day jitters. That's it. Versus, oh my God, I got to make an impression. I got opening day. A lot of things on top of it. So I don't know. That would be my only logic.
Now let me ask you this question because that's fair logic. Now I guess the only pushback I'll give you is with 2 weeks left in the season and you're not in the playoffs and I don't know where these games are and who the hell they're going to be playing. So I don't know what these stadiums are going to look like. But let's just say you're not playing teams that are in the race. Are you really getting the quote-unquote big league experience like for that kid?
Yes, 100%.
Believe so?
I got traded on August 1st. The Red Sox were in last place. They did a fire sale. Bro, it's just different.
But that's also the Red Sox too.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it matters, honestly. Pittsburgh, the Red Sox, that level is just something completely different. Mikey, you can maybe speak to this, but it's just something different. It does. There's just this different aura about it, and to me, it's the lifestyle, it's the travel,
so
here's
the other deal.
So that's the thing too, right? Like it's just the experience, the reps. You know, it's just like anything else. Like when you're doing. The first time you did a podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like versus now 3 years later, like it's just the reps of I don't know.
Here's the deal, right? So like the minor league schedule is different now than it was when we were there, right? Minor league schedule ended the Labor Day weekend. They don't end until the 17th of September.
Wow.
So now he's got almost a whole month. Right, and
that makes more sense.
Right, so
call him up for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and maybe they call him up at the end of the season for the last 2 weeks. Maybe they don't.
Right.
But at least he gets a month, and maybe that's their way of saying, hey, you're going to play in this level, and then next year it's either you're going to start in AAA or you're going to be in the big leagues.
You have a chance to make the team at a camp.
That for sure to me now sounds like
they've changed that.
He's there for a month. I want you to actually have like real competition here. We go to camp. You do what you do. Wherever they start you at next year, but like it's easier to push him along next year.
And it brings up my next point with him, right? Like why
Cruz?
Yeah. And I get what they want him to do. Like get comfortable, like, get acclimated in professional baseball. This kid was the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Like you knew his talent. He went to LSU. He did it for 3 years.
The conversation we had yesterday. Yeah.
Put him at a level that you feel is where he's ready right now. Like. Hey, if you think he's ready for Double-A, put him in Double-A right now. He doesn't need. If you want him to get a week of getting back into baseball, I get that. But there's no don't move him up to different areas. Like, put him right into where you think he
Right,
should be
where you
and let him
think-
play
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Right? And I think that's what they should do.
To what him and I had a conversation about it yesterday, and I'm like, I just don't understand I do think it's a very false sense of confidence, security, and whatever else you may want to throw on top of it anyway. When you have a kid, I don't care if they're the second pick in the draft or the second to last pick in the draft, move 3 different levels in the span of less than like 3 weeks. Like, let's be honest, a week, anybody can have a unbelievable week somewhere, or the worst week somewhere, right? And that 1 week over the course of a real season, it's a blip unless you literally hit 8 home runs that week.
Speaking of a week, have y'all seen what Dela Cruz is doing?
Who? He's having a great
not Dela Cruz. The guy up in Seattle.
De La Cruz, not Dylan Cruz.
Not Dela Cruz, but the guy.
Julio Rodriguez.
Julio Rodriguez.
Oh,
17 hits
don't
in
do
4
that.
days.
Don't do that.
It's ridiculous.
Oh,
Don't do that.
It's okay. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it
gonna
later.
go hitless for a month.
We'll talk about it
But
later. That's pretty
yeah, man, like
Yeah, no.
I'm 100% on it with him. Like, hey, when we draft someone, if we're really gonna be moving dudes this quick, why don't we just go ahead and put him at the spot where we think he's
And
gonna
maybe
be
that was
challenged
their
the
way
We'll
of
find
getting
out
him,
real quick.
Right.
Yeah, where he's at.
and maybe that was a way of getting him back in baseball shape, but keep him in one spot, get him in baseball shape, and then put him in Double A.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't.
I always
make him
thought
go
that
through
even
it.
like everybody was like, oh, why did he start in rookie ball? I'm like, this is all part of a plan. They have a plan for him.
do.
Like they know.
They do.
And, so it's
Yeah,
it's all
that
mapped
would be
out.
my question. As somebody that's obviously never been through, I don't know why, but never got the call. But is that just
Still
usually
got
how it goes?
eligibility, that's why.
Yeah, well, availability was part of it. Didn't take the team picture. If you were, like, if you're the number 1 overall pick, or if you're, like you said, the last overall pick, is it the same situation that everybody goes through? Like,
Hell
maybe
no.
not time. No, not time wise. Obviously, that changes. But I'm saying, like, you're on a kind of the same plan to begin with.
Hell no, that track's a little different for
Well,
some of
because
these
Dylan
dudes.
Cruz did. I mean, he's not in rookie ball.
So that's what I'm saying is they were like, hey, when we draft this dude, he's gonna play 8 days in rookie ball. He's gonna go to
No, but
single A for
that
1
was my
week.
question.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you've
yeah.
got to start there, no matter
Yes.
what.
No, not
No, you
necessarily.
don't.
Okay.
No.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Yeah.
But they have a plan, and like you said, is it the same for everyone? Like, I really don't know what his numbers are, so I don't really think this has anything to do with the numbers. But Gavin started with Dylan. Gavin ain't in Harrisburg right now.
Yeah.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, their plans were not the same for whatever their reasons are. Like, they had different plans for these guys, and they're going about
Now,
it.
there's not as many leagues now as there were. Like,
Right.
They took a short season league out.
And don't get me wrong, it looks like it's performance based. I think that's what it looks like. I think this was more towards whatever plan they already had.
They
It
said-
just
yeah.
happens to be that the performance is there with it right now.
That's more of my question, I guess. If he was batting 160, would they have called him up? to
Right.
Double A?
I do.
No,
I do.
You don't think
I
so?
don't know about
That-
double A,
that.
but I think he's not in rookie ball for sure.
He's not in rookie ball.
Right.
I think Double A is probably where they wanted to put him.
Right. That's why I think he would max out. If he was struggling, like he would have stayed at Double A. But I'm like that. If he kills it at Double A and keep like,
No doubt.
But yeah. But I think too it all.
Doesn't hurt he's batting 380.
Right. Yeah. I think it all is dependent on too is the situation of the player too, where they're drafted, where they live, all that stuff. What's convenient? Like Dylan's from Florida. Maybe he was at home in Florida and they were like, "Hey, go there for 3 days, get your feet wet." Right. But if he was an East Coast guy, maybe they were like, "Just go to our low A team. It's right there. It's an hour away." I think it has everything to do about
It's a great point too.
individual circumstances
For
as
sure.
well.
It's all about
That's a
individual. And
great
like
point.
at
That's what I
some
think, yeah.
point,
Very, very good point.
the beginning stages of your development is planned.
Right.
And then you get to a point where it's okay, it's performance based, right? And I can only go based off of personal experiences, right? When I signed, they put me in the Arizona Fall League was my first professional games, right? Which is you have an experience with a bunch of guys, you play there, and then I started in High A as my first full season, played well, then got called to Double A.
But that's really rare, even to start at the fall league, right? Like,
Right.
That's like
Right.
even that is
See,
individual,
that's
right?
what I'm asking, because I feel like a lot of people
Right,
don't
so like
know
that
how
was
it
my
goes.
plan.
Dudes
right?
don't do that. Like that's a really like advanced thing to be like, hey,
Right.
Mikey, we think you're already
Here.
fall league is basically Double A or better, right?
Yes.
Like let's be real.
I think there's a stat on the fall league that basically says like over 80% of the dudes that play in the fall league at least have a cup in the big league.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
you basically get to the fall league, so someone was your usher to at least a
Yeah.
showing in the big
so a
league.
first
did you
rounder
know that,
playing
John?
at LSU
No,
going
well, you
there.
may have, yeah.
I mean, after I went
Yeah,
there.
so basically to start your career as your first professional at bats or innings on the mound in the fall league, that's super rare. Like,
yeah,
it's
and
not-
now part of it was because I signed in August 15th.
It was a lot later.
And
when
there's
we
only
signed,
2 weeks
yeah.
left in the season at that point, so they say, hey, we want you to play. and they sent me there.
But if
and
they don't think you're ready, you don't go there.
Exactly. Right? They send me and keep me instructional.
Because of the
leave.
eyes that's on it, like they don't have to do that.
100%. And then I played really well there, and then so I started the next season and went in high A. Played well in high A, and I get called to double A. So I'm on the fast track. And then my first 20 games in in double A, played great. My last 20 games in my first August of professional baseball, I did not play great, right? So finished okay with an okay season. Started the season in double A knowing very well, hey, you get off to a good start, like you're on the fast track. And my progress went skirt. And I stayed there all year, in double A all year. I did not have a great year, right? And then I went to triple A, and that was hey, you either play well or now we got to make some decisions. And fortunately for me, I played well. But my whole point is at some point, it comes down to production. Okay,
Pressure is
this
so
is
real.
where you're going to push yourself until we find out where you need more work. And if you don't need more work, you're in the big leagues. Dylan Cruz is a way better baseball player than I was coming out of LSU. Like, way better. And so he's obviously going to just skyrocket through the minor leagues. But that's just the only way I can compare.
The funny part about it is, though, is he touches about production. These days, today, production looks a lot different than what we saw production when we were coming up.
Yeah.
Like I was literally just listening to some players talking about how in certain organizations right now, all they care about is exit speeds and launch angles. And if you're able to do these certain things, they think you have, quote unquote, what it takes to be at the next level and then on to the next level and on to the next level. And they could care less about how many times you strike out or what the batting average is or stuff like that. So like, production these days, and I don't know what it is in Washington's specific organization and or Pittsburgh's specific organization, but from organization to organization, it looks sometimes a lot different than what it did when we were coming up.
And now the conversation is different between Skeens and Cruz, right? Cruz, I believe, is performance-based. Skeens, I believe, it doesn't, like, you're in the big, like, we already know what you
I think he's going to be the number 3 starter no matter what, at worst next year.
At worst.
Like, at worst.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's complete. I think they're
– like, he could be opening day starter, number 2 starter after Keller next year. Like, easy.
100% crazy. I think he's he's an ace, obviously.
He is an
He
ace.
is
but
an
like,
ace.
Is he going to be
That
developed by next year's opening day, or is it going to take till mid-season next year? Like,
I'm all for I'm all for the fast movement to the minor leagues. I really am. I wish we had that, right? Like, I wish it was that same way. But, like, and some guys did. But for the most part,
No, where it is now. It's on a
And I'm all
wide
for
scale.
it.
but you also, like, tell me if I'm wrong. Like, Skeens was a major league pitcher this year in
Yeah, he
college
was.
baseball.
Oh my God, he
like,
did not
straight
have-
up.
he
He could
doesn't have
pitch
to-
in
he
the
doesn't have
major
to
leagues.
pitch an inning in the minor
Because
league
the
baseball.
things that most first rounders and things like that struggle with, he didn't struggle with. He's missing, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got everything that you need. It's just like, you need to get the reps at AA, AAA, and big leagues. That's it.
It's a
Or
formality.
AA.
Like you're saying, like he was a major league pitcher, like you said, like you usually see a guy. Say if we get a guy in that's 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", you're automatically thinking what? He's probably going to have some control issues if you've never seen him
Chase
pitch.
Shores this
Yes.
year, right? He'll go 3-1, like, you know what I'm saying, 3-1, but then 97, and you're just like, bro, just do that from the beginning, right?
right.
Like, but it takes time to learn your body and shit like that. 6'6".
You saw him do all of that stuff. You
And
saw
not
him
only is he
land
doing
breaking
that,
balls.
He's holding runners on. He slide steps. He controls the run game. He understands how to change the way he approaches the hitters. Like, he gets it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I mean.
so-
Like, the stuff that you need to iron out in the minor leagues, he doesn't need to iron out. Like, it's like, get to the big leagues, face the competition, figure out what you're going to struggle with big league hitters right away, and, like, let's figure this stuff out at 22.
Moments never can get too big for him. Like, he's very heady.
Yeah.
Like, he's just,
Exactly.
you know.
In my opinion, like watching him pitch all year, like I just feel like, it's not even a struggle, dude. It's just literally getting acclimated to a higher level of hitter.
That's it.
But it's literally like he's going to have to really learn how to, all right, I know I have this and it's great. Let me land one of these more often early. Let me throw this one more often early. And being able to do it at will like he does.
Right. And he started showing that towards the end of the
He
year.
did. Exactly.
When
100% he did.
When he showed that he could throw that changeup, I was like, he's going to be fine in Pro Bowl because there's going to be certain games that you face certain lineups and they do well against breaking balls, so you're going to have to do the changeup and, you know what I'm saying, pitch off of this. He showed that at the end of the year. So that's all he has to do is figure out Pro Ball hitters and understand which guys do what.
And how often he may end up having to do it and or not.
Right.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
to me, and like, wasn't it one of his best outings of the year, but like against Arkansas, right? He started throwing hard two-seamers in the righties, and he hadn't done that up to that point all year, right? So like, at some point you're gonna realize, okay, hey, these guys are seeing 100 miles an hour pretty regularly. Like, they're kind of on my heater a little bit. They're getting good swings. They're kind of getting over the plate a little bit. All right, let me get this 99-mile-an-hour two-seamer up on the hands and get him off the plate. And he showed that he has the capability of not only being willing to do it, but capable of locating it and doing it at will.
That's why he's going to be great, because the more reps he gets, the more times he's going to be like, oh, this is a game that I need to use my two-seamer. Exactly what you just said. Hey, I need to do this more, right? That's what makes Clayton Kershaw so good. He's got that four-pitch mix that does all the different angles, but he's just got the reps of time to be like, oh, okay, this team's on my fastball and cutter. I got to go two seams and change-ups, and he can do that because he got 4 pitches, right? And that's what Skeens will do, and he'll be great.
I guess the perfect way to sum it up is, as we've seen, is to be able to go out there one day and literally throw, 72% heaters and go 7 1/3 and strike out 9, and then the next start 5 days later, it's 50% heaters and he's throwing different. It's because he's facing a different team, and now he still goes another 7 innings. Like that's the reps of learning. It's a different level of hitter, so I can't literally just go out there and just do this.
And I would imagine that's probably why you want to get him out of low A ball, where he can just go 2 innings and throw nothing.
But that's also
because he can miss with his fastball and get away with it.
Still, oh my God,
exactly. And that's why they're doing what they're doing, where they're not going out there and asking him to throw 4 and 5 innings. Like, hey man, just low stress, go throw in and out. But we want you to be able to see different levels of hitters as you move this thing up. Which is a great plan in my mind.
I'm excited, and you know who's actually having a really good start to his minor league career is Trey Morgan. I think Trey Morgan started hitting he's hitting 350 right now.
Is he really? Where is he right now?
He got called up to A-ball?
Yeah.
High A?
They called him up to high A? He's in high A now?
And their high A now is
it not? Oh, no, it's not in that Florida State League.
the Charleston River Dogs?
Oh, they got Charleston now, huh?
I
used to be the Yankees.
Yeah.
So their A-ball is up in Hudson Valley.
Charleston's where I made my professional
That's the Rays
debut.
Yeah.
Now.
Right?
It used to be the Yankees.
Because that's who you got drafted by, right?
Yeah.
Rays?
Yep.
It's a good team for him. They said he's been moving a lot from left field to first base, like playing equally in the outfield.
It's like the perfect. It's the perfect organization.
It is. When he got drafted, I said this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because as long as the bat plays, he's going to. Have an
I wouldn't
opportunity.
be shocked if he got some innings at center field.
I wouldn't. Anywhere. Anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, but I wouldn't be shocked as he progresses.
If the arm even
it
gets
to
a little
center
bit better,
field,
you
In
might
right
see him
field.
kind of get some right field action
doubt.
too. Yeah.
No doubt. But look, LSU obviously they're really good, but they're showing out early on in professional baseball, and they showed that it's not. You can have a lot of really good college teams with a lot of good college talent. I think they're proving to you right now, like these guys weren't just college guys. Like these are professional baseball players.
They had about 37 of them drafted, so
yeah,
it only makes sense.
And they bring in when you have a mass exodus, you have a mass
entrance.
Yeah,
we'll go with that.
Nice.
That's
Entrance, exodus.
This man
Leviticus,
goes
Numbers, Deuteronomy.
This man goes Genesis.
Revelation.
Oh,
That's
one.
Yeah.
A little twist and turn.
I think they have 10 left-handed pitchers.
They do.
Hey,
That's crazy.
How many did y'all have
Jay
on Paul?
was saying
I'm gonna sit it.
right?
Dude, this is y'all. This is because I didn't get to go.
I
I didn't go to the
sat
dinner.
there
So
and
this is
listened
y'all.
to Jay talk the other day. Here's my bold prediction: you may not see the top end like you saw with Skeens last year, because that's just.
You don't get that
I
many.
don't think you're gonna.
I mean, like that's so unbelievable what we saw him do.
And let me rephrase that. The top end of that is as top as you can get.
Literally,
right?
we've
That's
never
what I'm
seen
saying.
it.
It was
It's happened
generational
3
stuff.
times in 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
Generational
So-
stuff, right?
So that's not a bad thing.
So
Like,
you
let's
may
just be
not see
honest,
the
yeah.
top end of that, because what we saw there was you don't see.
Strasburg, Pryor, and Skeens.
Yeah.
Like those are
And
the 3
Cole.
names.
Yeah.
And Garrett Cole. Yeah.
That's
and
it.
Garrett Cole.
Yeah.
But even him, his career wasn't as decorated as
Right.
all those other guys.
Right.
Yeah. But
Right.
still, we knew he was going to
Right.
be the dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So you may not see that, but I think as a whole, especially health willing, you may see a much better pitching staff
Oh,
as
no,
a whole.
for
because
sure.
the guys that they
Yeah.
have coming back and these arms that they have coming in are real.
I agree.
Like legit real.
I agree.
And so a team you saw literally like banging around and like basically beat everybody to a pulp, except
Right.
for having to not have to do it on Friday nights. You may see them literally outpitch everybody.
And here's the other thing, and I want y'all to go more into this. Not only do they have these guys coming in, they have a bunch of guys on the bench that did not pitch this year.
Right.
That
Could be dudes.
are explosive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where even I joked with Yeski. I'd never met him. I just went up and introduced myself the other night. And I was like, so you got a guy to replace Ski? I was like, how many people have said that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, and he's like, no. But he started naming off names, and he was like, I'm not going to say anybody's in that category because he was like, let's be real. But he started naming off names in the way that he was confidently saying this stuff and their stuff and the mix. And I'm like, okay, like, it was just intrigued me where I was like, it wasn't like he was downplaying it. Not that, again,
right.
He's not going to hype it up and everything, but it was interesting to hear
Confident.
exactly. That was it. Confidence, where I was like, oh, all right, this is exciting.
Like
I'm intrigued. Yeah.
The level of depth that they're gonna have on this rotation is gonna be double AS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be, hey, these
It's a
guys are
problem.
like these guys. Everybody's gonna be throwing 95,
It's a
96,
problem.
97 out the bullpen.
I feel like it's going to be like Florida the last 5 years, where I'm like, every time I turn on the TV, every pitcher is throwing 95
Yeah,
plus. I'm
or
like,
Vandy.
they're down 8-1, and like the guy they bring in is throwing 97, and you're like,
He didn't play.
yeah, he's thrown 3 innings this year. I'm like, why has this guy not pitched?
Right.
The way they're specifically like mind blown or puzzled, I should say, as to why no one gave the Cam Johnson kid a handful of $1 million to leave. They were like, I don't really understand it, but I'll take
We're
it every
here
single
for
day.
We're picking
Come
up the
on
pieces.
over, we'll take it every day.
Come on,
so
man.
like that, and he's one of, like I said, like he said, 10 lefties that they have.
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you. Like, I don't think people understand. 10 lefties on one staff is so ridiculous. And it's not even.
I think we had 2.
I can't even name.
You couldn't buy
For the
it.
last
can't name-
5 years, we've always struggled and been like, do we have a lefty?
I can't name.
We had to
we
put
pulled
Chad
Chad
Jones.
Jones.
Bro, I can't name lefty. I can't name in my mind, like off the jump, lefties even going through pro ball my entire career where I'm like, man, they got 5 lefties on the staff. To have 10?
Yeah.
And dudes? Like
dude,
all of them be dudes?
They're gonna have more lefties pitching this year than righties.
Yeah.
I mean,
Imagine,
like-
if you have 10 on your staff,
Right.
you can have 15 maybe on your staff, right? Like,
Well, I guess now that I'm so
I guess
the
college?
rotate. I mean the roster size now confuses me.
Well,
Like,
you can
I mean,
still
even
have.
if it's
It's not
35,
35 right
have
now.
13 to,
It's still more than that. I don't know when they're gonna go down to 35.
Yeah.
When they do that, there's gonna be a lot of people get screwed over.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's still in the COVID thing.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
right.
They
I
expanded
mean,
the
even
roster.
10 lefties on your team. I mean,
Right,
like,
10's a
if
lot.
you have 20 pitchers, like half the team as
that's-
lefties is
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, like the kid from UCLA is gonna be a
that's so
stud.
many.
Yeah, so I mean, the Xavier kid, I think is what
The
I'm
Xavier
excited.
kid's gonna be
I'm
good.
excited
I
to see
mean,
him,
you
yeah.
have
Really?
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the number one left-handed
the number one
pitcher.
Yeah, I mean,
left-hander in the country.
Cam Johnson.
I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
country and in the state, both of them are lefties.
Yep. Number
So
two.
we got
lefty.
the number one
and
lefty
Jake
from
Brown.
LSU.
And number 2 lefty.
Louisiana.
Number 2 pitcher in the state is lefty.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
Kate Anderson. I mean, good God.
Lefties
I'm
on
just
deck.
being honest with you. Like, if I'm a lefty, when you have LSU on the schedule next year, you're not very happy about that 3-game
Right.
series.
Yeah.
You're just not.
Which is
Straight
great
up.
because that's how it used to be. Like when we played Vandy.
Yeah, but they didn't have 10.
Florida. No, they didn't have 10. No.
Like, they didn't have
Yeah.
10. Nobody has that.
It's gonna be a fun season. I know it's football season, but Jay had his press conference. And there's always a buzz with LSU baseball just because of it being LSU baseball, especially coming off a national championship. I think Jay, and we've talked about it before, I think Jay's the perfect guy for this team and for the new age college baseball. You know what I mean? I just think that,
Tireless.
yeah, it's going to be pretty special to see what they do. But,
I agree.
yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Anybody
time-
pop that,
good times
from
ahead.
that roster that he talked about, aside from the pitching staff? I mean, obviously you get your guy, somebody back in the club.
Travinsky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped for Travinsky, man. I mean, he's had an interesting track. You know, he's been banged up a lot. We talked about before. So he's a big reason why
Talk about
they made that run.
BYOP.
Yeah, yeah,
He's got it.
Yeah,
in
bring your own
spades.
personality, baby.
Yes.
He had some big moments. I mean, if you can go back and you look at, in the middle of the season when kind of LSU was kind of in that lull, he was the guy that brought all the energy. He had the big hits, he had the big homers, and I'm like, man, this guy. And then, he earned his spot in the lineup, and now he's earned to wear number 8, and I'm very happy for him, and I think that it's the perfect guy for it. And so hopefully we get him on the show this week. or next week or whenever to talk about
Well,
it.
and you
but-
talk about, like we talked a little off air about Jay kind of realizing what happened whenever he became LSU's head coach and realizing how much people care. But to have somebody like Travinsky come in whenever you're kind of in we talked about it during the year, where you're in like the dog days of LSU baseball, where you care, but you don't really care. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, really. Like, we're taking 2 out of 3 every series, keep it moving. And then you see, like, well, why aren't you sweeping? And all of these pressure starts to mount. The insert a guy like Travinsky who comes in and is, okay, he can hit you a 450-foot moonshot and change the way a game's played in the 5th inning, where you're like, okay, the boys are back in it. And he can play catcher when you have a freshman back there. Brady Neal goes out. Who's next? All right, Milazzo. He starts getting worn down. It's like, Travinsky, you want to catch? Yeah, absolutely. Then you have just the way that and by I mean Jay plugged all the pieces in at the right time. Yeah. It feels like that Travinsky was perfect for that role. And now you get Milazzo and Travinsky back.
I'm interested to see what they do with
You think he's DH?
with Bear.
Yeah,
Jared
and
Jones.
with Brady Neal healthy and like everything.
You have
it'll be
4
interesting.
catchers on the
That's what
roster
I mean.
now.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Right? Like, is Bear just going to be a straight first baseman guy?
A what?
Who would you put
Just
at
first base.
I would imagine
If it wasn't Bear, who would
not
you
to
put there?
like take it away,
Travinsky,
but
I
yeah,
don't know.
I would imagine you're gonna see. Pretty
Yeah, but
much
I know he
first
wants to catch,
to DH
but like
him.
maybe his junior year will catch.
Listen, let me tell you what.
You know what I mean?
Let me tell you what. To be very blunt and to be very helpful to him with that body frame,
It's hard to catch.
You do yourself a whole lot of good going over there at first.
Yeah,
base.
just that's a lot.
No, well, Travinsky too, but it doesn't matter.
Bear,
'cause Travinsky
Jared
goes
Jones.
Bear
Bear.
Jones.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that's
That
a lot of weight on the
size,
knees.
That's a lot
dude.
of weight on the knees, bro.
Bear catching.
He was a catcher. He came in as a
catcher.
catcher.
Yeah,
he was
no,
like
he's
the
definitely not a catcher. Like,
Not
in the mean.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but
like,
yeah,
yeah,
goes
like,
back to
if
it.
Like, I
100%,
want to be like, hey,
yeah.
dude, I understand
Makes
if
my
you
knees
would
hurt.
want to keep
That's what I mean.
grabbing that
There's
catcher's
no way he's a
stuff and go
catcher.
back there. Listen,
No.
for your body size and for what
Yeah.
what you're gonna project at,
Yeah, and what you bring to
Global
the table as a
warming?
hitter, like
I need you to be healthy.
Yeah.
Which means I need you to just stand up, catch that thing, maybe stretch, maybe
DH, be
Yeah.
a first baseman.
work the feet.
Yeah,
Give me the
exactly.
footwork over there.
Exactly.
Let's
hit homers.
Hit homers. That's
Hit
it.
homers.
Hit homers for us.
Jog.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, in pie in the sky, you'd have Milazzo catching, Neal catching, and then Travinsky DH, Bear Jones at first.
Right.
That's
That's what I think.
That's
what
what
I
they.
think.
That's ideal.
Yeah,
if we get
ideal.
that,
Yeah.
Brady
That's-
Neal's
that
your
feels
starter.
Great. Yeah.
Milazzo's gonna catch 1 game a weekend.
Correct.
And then you're gonna hit homers.
and then
Yep.
let them boys go back and
Travinsky-
forth at first, like whenever one needs a break or however you need it to go. Yeah.
That's exactly what it
That's-
should be.
that's
Milazzo
how it
throw a
should
couple
be.
innings.
Again, nothing wrong with nothing
Milazzo
against
ain't gonna-
Bear.
trust me,
That
coach.
didn't
Yeah.
come off, but
97.
but
yeah, I don't care if he throws 107.
Who?
They have too many pitchers.
Milazzo.
he was a pitcher.
They said Milazzo got clocked at 97 off the mound in high school. He said that.
Why? Oh, he said that.
Well,
He doesn't lie.
They said it, and I asked him. He was like, I mean, that's what they. I mean, like 95.
He's like, somebody had
96.
a gun and it read 97, so I guess, yeah, I hit
you were
97.
But
He was like, there was this thing called a stalker gun, and then
yeah,
the button and it said 97, so yeah, I don't know.
It was me.
he ain't
I took my
pitching.
gear off.
I was on the mound. So.
That's what happens. He goes, I was on the mound, threw it. It said 97. That's
He's
how I
like,
got
so, I don't know. If you guys want to say I threw 97, that's fine,
Yeah.
but
I take an 8 if you want it to. It doesn't
it.
matter.
But he's not gonna pitch. Even
No.
if he throws 107,
yeah,
he's not
I
gonna
don't
pitch.
think so.
I think they brought in all
got too
those
many
arms
arms,
to
yeah.
respectfully not have to have him pitch.
Right, yeah.
Love to see it.
If listen, wait, time out. First off, honestly, if he didn't pitch with all the arms that went down last year,
Right.
it's hard for me to
Or
think
the
he's gonna
year
pitch next
before?
year. Hard for me to think he's gonna pitch next year, and that's no slight to him.
You got Nasty Nate coming back.
I'm glad Jay decided to let some of these young guys, position players, like develop this year.
Yeah.
Like not bringing a ton of guys and take all these positions that already got like fill them with those guys. Like, hey, listen, we're gonna stack our rotation where we don't have to score a ton if we don't need to. But I'm gonna let these guys develop because they came here
Well-
to go and play. And if you don't, then you're gonna lose some of that recruiting of these young guys coming in from high school.
Well, not just that, like I know, like if you want to build a really good team and you want to
You
build
got-
a really
yeah.
good program, it's got to start on the mound.
No doubt.
Like you're fooling yourself if you think you're gonna have a Tommy Tanks, if you think you're gonna have a Dylan Cruz, if you think you're gonna have a Trey Morgan, if you think you're gonna have all of that in the lineup year in and year out. Like that's just it's not being
That's
very
tough.
honest with yourself.
That's tough.
So
gotta
if you
pitch.
think you're gonna have a freshman who sat the bench the second I don't know third of the season, who's got damn near 20 on the year, like if you think that's gonna be like you're just not gonna have that happen. So with that being said, what you need to do is stack them out and make sure you can at least pitch and keep yourself in games.
And just as a caveat going into the 2023 season, shows how hard it is to win it.
Yes.
Because you had all those cats and you played every game you had to play to be a
You
national
needed them.
championship.
You needed everyone who thought
Needed everyone.
before the season, hey, man, I don't know. They got a lot of depth. I don't know how they're going to get all these guys on the field. They needed every single one of them.
Every single one of those
You
guys.
need a nasty Nate to throw 7 shutty
They
against.
needed every
Who
single
was it?
one of them.
Wake Forest?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
And
You
yeah,
needed
I mean,
that.
Had to
it's-
steal a lunch.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting. It's
Closer
hopefully
than you think, too.
hopefully it's, I mean it's
But not as
not
close.
as close.
But
We got a couple seasons. a couple seasons.
We have football and basketball season.
I love it. I love it.
Located
Yeah. You know, big football season.
The next 4 months.
Huge football season ahead. We have 4 months of
And
football.
we got a bunch of negative fans that are waiting for this basketball team to do something, men's, but the
I'm
women's
actually,
are excited.
I'm actually excited
I'm really.
about the men's basketball team.
I'm an eternal optimist.
Me too.
Optimist. Me
But, I don't know. Mike is high.
I know.
It's way up.
But in the back, I haven't publicly said it except for right now. But I'm excited. I guess I trust in Scott. Yeah, exactly. That he made the right hire.
And here's the deal: they almost have a, they almost had a,
Sheena Gallery
they
over
erased it, right? Like they did this last year. They erased the team, almost did the exact same thing again, right? I think what he did this year was awesome, and saying I'm gonna go bring back all these higher profile athletes from Louisiana,
Right.
to come back and play for LSU. I think that is going. I'm not saying they're gonna go and be a Final Four team,
Right.
but I think they're gonna be more competitive because you have a little bit more pride on the, and then just.
I love it.
I'm not saying they're gonna be a huge team, but
I think Woodward's got. I think he made the right moves. Give him time.
me too.
Jalen
But
Cook
it's
didn't
gonna.
get his
It
waiver.
seems like
Jalen Cook, no
What about-
waiver. Has to sit out the year
really.
for now. Yeah.
What?
He couldn't get.
He's coming on my podcast next week.
Yeah, maybe you'll have different news than what's currently out.
Maybe that's why.
those
Maybe
wheels turning.
he was actually supposed to come on last week, and maybe
you have
that's
a-
why he
Hey,
pushed.
huge announcement coming on. Anthony
Maybe,
Rhodes
yeah.
pod.
So
He pressed the pause button
That's
last
tough.
week. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why.
We got some things going on.
He was supposed to be last Monday. That makes a lot of sense now.
I won't ask him.
We'll leave that one
You
out.
excited for next year? Not at all.
No, actually, no.
that's
Fuck
tough,
that
dude. You had a great year last year, dude.
Damn, really? Wait, so what happened? What's the real?
For some reason, it's the NCAA thing where you can't get a dual waiver from coming in state from Tulane to
In state, so if you
LSU.
went out of state, he could have
I
transferred.
don't know, but it makes no sense to me. I have no idea why it's.
NCAA sucks, dude.
Yeah, they
the
throw their
worst.
head in there at the most awkward times where this guy's should be cleared, no big deal, and now
You're ruining this guy's career.
Yeah,
That's the goofiest stuff too, man.
But yes, it seems like LSU is getting into a golden age of a long stretch of successful sports, not just football, not just baseball, but a lot of them. Which
Basketball's coming. I'm telling you, I'm
Not
a
to sound like the old dudes and it sounds like what we were accustomed to while we
Yeah,
were
yep.
here.
Yeah,
Yep,
That's what it sounds like.
yep, for sure.
That's what it feels
I feel
like.
like basketball's ready. I'm serious.
I'm look, me too. I think they're gonna.
basketball.
Women's basketball's already there.
If they're
basketball's
middle of the road, whoa, look at that. If they're middle of the road in the SEC, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
Huge win, right? If they're 500 in the SEC, that's
Yeah.
a big. That's
I
maybe
mean,
in the
it's a
tournament.
big jump from where
Yeah.
they were last year. So
No doubt.
I mean, it's
We
fair.
started off well last year.
They started
Yeah.
off
And
well.
then it fell off a cliff.
It didn't go very well.
Underwater when you saw the head overwater. Underwater was a kick.
After the Arkansas game, it was over. All right,
Cool up here, down here I'm panicking.
we have right around the corner.
Panicking.
Right around the corner.
Right around
Basketball
the
is more right around the corner than baseball.
Yes.
Football is
One
the
season
closest
closer.
around the corner, so it's more of a.
Actually,
It's
almost here.
actually here.
How many days?
First,
I think it's
13
like
days
9.
for LSU
Yeah,
for
it's like
football.
Name
10,
13.
12, 15?
Name of 13.
Ron Brooks.
Maybe
I
less.
don't really know. Another 13.
9 in August.
Was Corey
right?
Webster
And then
13?
3, 12,
Until LSU kicks
12,
off. It's
11?
13.
Herb
I
Tyler?
think.
I think he was
Next Sunday.
14.
31 days in August?
Next Sunday night. I don't know.
I don't have that
Hey.
answer.
We going?
Hey,
August.
I don't know.
31. There's 31 days in August.
Wait, what is the trick?
Somewhere.
So
It's something with the fists.
January, you start the knuckle. January, February, March.
So you go double knuckle?
So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. You have two 31s in a row. July,
This doesn't feel like a trick that's
August,
helping me at all.
September, October,
You're just
November,
telling me the
December.
months.
That's how it goes. Your
So
knuckle,
August has 31.
Your raised
So you start
knuckles
at
are
the top,
31.
but then you also
So
have to go
August
the
back
side.
to back. So July, August.
July
have
and August
31.
both have 31.
Perfect. That's
for
all I
31
need to know.
days.
There we
So
go.
January, not a raised knuckle.
Yes, you start.
You start
It starts
there?
with the raised
Who
knuckle.
starts on the outside of their knuckle? You just made that up.
February is 28.
Yep.
Shutout.
Shortest month of the year.
That's even shorter.
Well,
That's like the deep crevice.
That shit ain't right.
I know.
Ain't right.
That's fucked up, Jay.
Ain't right.
Damn toe stuck in
They
the
dropped
bottle.
at least 2, maybe 3 on that month. Why?
How did we get that short? We always leap year and everything, man. God,
Messed up, man.
short didn't even.
What's on purpose?
Man, keep going, man.
All right. On that note,
Mistake of the year.
that's a perfect segue into the mistake of the day. Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Doe's Eat Place. If you haven't visited Doe's, please go and visit it. I know Anthony's been talking about it.
Yeah, I haven't yet.
We got to go for lunch.
We've been
to get a
talking about
burger.
going to lunch, yeah.
I know. We got to
Can
do
we get it on the calendar?
next week.
All right.
Because I got to go to Chicago. Are you going to Chicago?
Tough to get on Mikey's
The
calendar.
1st or the 3rd. That's when, remember, we missed each other because aren't you, like, you leave the...
I'm going this week.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going this
Yeah.
week. Damn. It's okay.
I know.
We'll figure it out. Next week.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, next week we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll have a team lunch.
Man,
Pick a longer month.
We'll have a team lunch. All right, mistake of the day is brought to you by Doe's Eat Place.
My mistake of the day brought to you by Doe's Eat Place, courtesy of a former LSU football player, and I don't mean to pocket watch, but Quan, in and out of the league, had some injury struggles. Gets
He's not in
fined.
and out of the league.
I think he sat out last year.
Recovering from injury?
Yeah. And I mean, he was a great Saint. Should have stayed there. Unfortunate that they couldn't get a deal done. But he is now playing in the preseason, which I doubt he plays in again the rest of the year after he got fined $43,000 for a tackle. And gets up to celebrate. Feels like, we said this before the show, Steelers colors look real good on it.
Here we go,
But
Mayfield
this
back to
type of
pass
play
now.
gets you
Swings it
fined
backfield. What a
$43K.
hit right there. Beautifully done by Quan Alexander. We have a flag on the play. Chase.
Say about that.
3,000?
I feel like that's literally how they draw it up.
43,000 with a perfect form tackle in the chest.
Helmet to the chest.
They said he is a prior offender and somebody that's on the list. He'll remember Quan ever
prior
getting a
offense.
personal foul.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Just because he had a prior offender doesn't mean that was a perfect tackle.
It's not Vontaze perfect.
No.
Prior
He's not
offender.
headhunting. He's not leaving his feet.
We talking
Trying
about
to make a
football?
team.
That's what I mean. I'm like, come on, what are we talking
We
about?
talking about football.
This man's
though.
been,
What we do?
like,
prior
Yeah.
offender.
43K
Tried by a period. What is
for
it?
doing
The
something voluntary.
Jury of his peers.
Yeah.
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 That's very good. That's good.
Miss
Had a little
me.
tongue twister.
Trust me, I do it all the
Yeah,
time.
That's tough.
Happens to me all the time. And he lets me hear about it too. when it
I would
happens.
never say anything.
Only a good producer would do the.
You're right.
That's it.
Especially live.
Yeah, exactly.
Good's a straight.
Hold him accountable.
All right, that's a good one. That's good. It's a
unfortunate.
mistake of the NFL. They've had a few.
Get it
They do a
straight,
lot of
Raj.
things right. Before we get to the curtain call, is it Chris Hansen?
Oh God, not
Predators?
Chris Hansen.
Who's the guy?
Predators?
Who's the one that does the
Dateline.
red zone?
Dateline?
Oh,
No,
Break
red
line?
zone.
that's definitely not. Chris Hansen's the one with the
Yeah.
Predators and the kids.
Yeah.
and-
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's Chris Hansen.
Oh, yeah. Who's the guy that does red zone? Something Hansen, right?
I don't know.
Oh, Mr. 7 Hour?
It's Mr. 7
Oh,
Hour.
the guy that has
7.5 hours, actually.
One.
Foosball?
That is like he started
Scott.
Scott Hansen. I knew it was
That's
a
it.
Hansen. Scott Hansen.
Chris Hansen has another 7-hour stream.
Yeah,
he
Chris
has to do.
Chris Hansen's not the guy. Scott Hansen
That beer for me
He's
and
on
you?
TV though.
does red zone 7 hours. He
Seven and a
started
half, seven and a
7.5. He starts
Commercial
talking
free.
about like, man,
The
one,
Octobox.
how hard is that to do by yourself?
What?
That is a lot.
7.5 hours, just you by yourself looking at all the football games and talking the
No.
entire time.
Yeah, yes, that's his job.
That would be it. It's a dream.
It is
Doing that for 18
About
weeks?
footballs?
not every single Sunday
Yeah, that's a lot.
for 18
What do you
weeks.
do?
It's not. No, we don't.
Yeah, I do it on my
Listen,
couch.
it's-
Take naps, eat food.
I know a lot of people think it's easy, but
Bathroom
we
breaks,
don't
every
do
break.
it like he does it. You don't talk about it nonstop with all these teams as highlights are coming in. We don't do that.
Activities.
I think he could actually do less and be okay. He would get away with it a lot. He could turn that into whatever he wanted.
Nah, man.
Yeah, but
I'm
that's
gonna be
the
honest
problem
with
is
you. That's the job.
He
I
wants
don't
to be the
want.
best at what he does. You can't just
Mail
be
it in,
content. Yeah, that's not how that works.
Send it to the broadcast team that actually has to be there.
They're,
Like,
they're
"Oh,
already
kick it over to
doing their
Saints
job.
Falcons, and then you shut up.
No. You pay for red zone. You get red zone. You get Scott
Pay to
Hansen.
watch the games.
Anyway,
not pay
I just
for
saw he
Chris
came on a
Hansen.
commercial yesterday, and it just made me very excited for football. But let's get to our curtain calls.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't
is
want
that
to
not
hear
your
you.
curtain call?
No, my curtain call is not that.
Oh.
But
Andy got that other guy kicked off. It's him only now.
it was always only him.
No, there's a guy at the NFL Network had their own red zone.
What?
You didn't know that? This is the first year that Scott Hansen's going like solo. There was 2 channels that had the Red Zone. NFL Network had their Red Zone package. DirecTV had their Red Zone package.
I've
so
only,
you got to pick.
I've only known one.
I only knew the NFL.
Well, why do you think the other guy?
I only knew
left?
the NFL one.
So this is the year he's the spotlight's on. Gonna be bright.
Is he DirecTV or is he NFL?
He was
Network?
DirecTV. Now it's YouTube TV, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Red Zone was YouTube TV last year.
Yeah. So this is his time to shine. He's the only guy.
Okay. He's the only guy I
Scott
knew,
Hansen.
so it didn't matter.
Right, I think we need to fact check that.
Yeah, Curtain Calls brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. I'm going to be with all my friends this week in Chicago at Assured Partners talking about how we can help you do better with your commercial insurance.
Well said.
I'm gonna lead this one off. I'm gonna kick my.
Jared is Mardi Gras. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
I'm gonna kick my curtain call on down the Pacific Northwest out to Seattle. There is a kid, a young budding star by the name of Julio Rodriguez there. If you haven't seen the kid play, he is something special. And by something special, I mean he did something over this past week that hasn't been done since 1925. 1925.
That's right after World War I.
4-game span.
Thanks.
Mr. Julio has a grand total of 17 hits.
In 4 games.
That's crazy.
Games.
That's more than 4 it's a game.
It's more than 4 games.
Strong to quite strong.
I don't think y'all understand how absolutely ridiculous that looks. Mikey, you've had a span of where you went, what? 11 for 11. Imagine go ahead and add 6
baseball?
more in there.
Against them.
And imagine
The
go
major leagues?
No,
Triple A.
AAA.
Imagine adding 6 more in there.
Yeah.
That's a game and a half more.
Crazy.
17 hits in 4 games.
17 hits.
He was 17 for 22,
I think so.
I think what they said.
It's crazy.
21.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
So my curtain call is there because that's called unconscious right there, and I just respect.
That is impressive. That's a
Mucho
good
respect.
one. Lloyd?
Still looking.
He's like, damn, I wasn't prepared.
No, I'm prepared.
I'm just kidding.
Always
I know you're
prepared for a curtain
I know
call.
you're prepared.
Let me get to the document here.
Also, another mistake of the day that we didn't mention is our friend Cade York from LSU.
Also the document.
I know that's what I'm looking at right now.
You can, I would say it's a curtain call.
Did you guys do a
Can't be a curtain call. You missed a field goal.
But he's still posting his own highlights.
Did you guys do a mistake of the day for Pete Alonso?
What did he do?
Oh, no, you didn't know that? We did not.
He didn't even just like. He didn't just like throw it to like the front row. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, have you're an outfielder. You guys are outfielders. You've thrown balls into the stands.
A couple rows.
Right. This man threw it.
Not a couple
30
rows.
up.
Yeah, he
like,
went second deck.
He flung it like where I was like, that was.
Aggressive.
I mean, that was rude. Like that was. Right. Anyway, dude got his first major league hit, and usually they're like, hey, the
Is
ball.
it
Like,
Shanuel, the guy from the Angels?
no, it was
no.
It was a
It
guy
was
from
the
Nationals.
Cardinals.
Wins.
Cardinals. Okay,
Mason
I
Wins.
don't know.
Mason Wins.
Yeah. And like literally, he literally kind of went like this, and you could see he was going to the umpire like this ball sucks, and he was throwing it out. But everyone thinks he's gonna throw it into the dugout, and then he throws it 50, not like a couple, 50 rows up.
Let's add to that mistake of the day. No, he's not.
He's still
asshole.
bitter
He's a
about the
nice
home
guy.
run
He's just
derby.
He just has no feel, right?
Right.
We talked.
That's
about
what I've
this.
heard. Yeah. So, not only did he throw into the stands, he said he felt bad, and as a repayment, sent over to this kid
Right.
a signed autographed bat
As if like that thing's going
Right.
straight to the
of
fucking
himself
hall, like or something.
and a nice bottle of 1942. That's fine. 1942 is great. I'll take that.
Nice. Yeah.
The signed bat. Hey, bro, we're playing against each other. We're like, you're not Mike Trout.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
not
You haven't
Albert
done-
Pujols.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you're not.
You haven't done that much.
Like,
yet.
you've had a great career.
He hasn't
You've
even-
got a long
has he
way to
gotten
go.
to the
That's
second
got to be
contract yet?
like 10 to 15 years plus.
Yeah.
Like you've been
Yeah.
what 5 years maybe?
Yeah, like that's.
Can't even win the home run derby.
Hey, the crazy part about it too. The crazy part about it too is that like being an infielder is like one level. Being a first baseman is a different level of this. I could see some younger-ish outfielder not really diving for something goofy to where like they throw the ball away. Bro, you play first base in the big leagues. Like that's
know the outs.
Like you know what's going on. That's kind of like knowing the game and knowing what's going on and understanding. Hey, it's his first chance of getting a big
There's
league
somebody
hit.
literally there to
It's
tell
someone-
you.
that-
The first base coach is like, "Hey man, we got to get that ball."
Yeah.
Like you just know these things are going on as a first baseman.
Listen to me. Usually when a Usually when a rookie makes his debut, the PA announcer says, making his major league debut.
Right. It's not a usually. It's a thing. Like,
yeah, right. Like that's what happens.
It's 100% of the time.
So you know he's making his major league debut.
Pete Alonso, no feel bad. Like
Yeah,
messed
bad
up.
stuff.
He
That's
messed
a
up.
good mistake.
He messed up. He felt bad. You could definitely tell. But
Yeah, he did, but
hey, dude,
He
you
didn't
messed up.
intentionally do
That
it.
feel.
If you're going to be the guy that signs the bat to send it over to the dugout, you got to have the max feel to be like,
Yeah, no doubt.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
No doubt. Savvy
all
sold
around,
separately.
no feel for him.
Savvy sold separately.
Probably offered him like a free voucher to take BP with him to the next home run derby. You want to come down the tunnel?
I'll take you around New York City.
Show you my
Be on
Go
the
around with
team.
the polar bear.
Show you
Yeah,
my
with the
favorite
Coens.
restaurant. They love me here.
Frank the
Hey,
Tank.
if you work hard, you can get to where I am at.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Keep working, kid.
Basically,
grinding,
that's the
kid.
inscription that he wrote on the bat. Maybe
Yeah.
one day you'll be where I am.
Yeah.
Go get him, kid.
Throwing balls into the upper deck.
We're just
Wait,
bashing
y'all
Pete
see-
Alonso right now.
I'm sorry, P. Listen.
What if Pete walked by right now? Hey, Pete, what's up, cuz?
Hey, you're
Hey,
a
I
great
hate
player.
y'all.
You're a great
You
player.
went to Florida, right? That's the problem.
Great player. You've had a great career.
Great career.
done
I'm
it.
sure you're going to continue to have a great career.
Still ain't got
Bad
no
move,
feel.
you know, is a bad move. I'm sure you're
He's
getting
got
worn
bad
out.
feel.
I'm sure you're getting worn out in the dugout. He's probably getting worn out in the clubhouse.
His teammates are
But
wearing
what
him
if
out.
he isn't?
Everybody is.
Oh, he is.
Everybody is.
That means they really don't like
Well,
The
they
teammates
have
are
a-
embarrassed of him right
that's
now. They're in
happening-
last place, and he did something like that, and they're like, Pete.
Yeah, this looks
bro,
like our season.
need
this
more
is it.
publicity.
Like, of course. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We win 4 or 5 in a row, and that's the headlines right now.
Speaking of making your debut,
Uh-huh.
a former LSU Tiger, much maligned maybe during his last year, but very much loved as a freshman, Kayshon Boutte gets his first touchdown as a New England Patriot and shows a little bit of juice.
Looks a lot
getting
better
into
in
the
80
end
than he
zone.
did in 58.
Yeah, that 80
Looks like a
sparks.
ball player, baby.
He does. He looks like he's back. I've seen him do this a time or two, and so is Ole Miss. 3
That's,
times.
I mean, that he does look good right there. He looks pretty smooth running right there.
Yeah, he looks like he's still got some of the tank. So, hopefully Kayshon
He
can get
quieted
it
the
right.
crowd right there. He gave me a little.
Yes, and at Green Bay, it would be an all-time Kayshon if he was at the Patriots.
I don't have a link to mine, so I'm just gonna verbally say it unless you want to find one, but it's too hard. My curtain call is to.
The pencil bat.
That's a great one. He's playing right now.
The what?
Bryson Stott had a bat.
Oh, I love that bat.
Those are awesome.
I love
Victus,
that
Victus did well last night with the
Yeah.
bats.
Yeah, I like
Ritchie
that
Company.
a lot.
There was a couple crayons. How do you
Yes.
say it? Crayon or crayon?
I say crayon.
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 people
Or
say
I say
crayon?
crayon.
No, you don't.
Oh,
I grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah,
It's
you
different.
said,
yeah.
you said different.
I,
was a
I,
disclaimer.
I
I grew up
say
in New Jersey.
C-R-A-N, and that's why when I got down here, people were like crayon. I'm like, what?
What you say?
I'm like, I get it. That's how it's spelled.
say
but-
book
theater?
sack.
I say
You say
crayon.
Like
theater
book
or
sack
theater?
when you heard book sack for the
Theater.
first time.
Theater.
Theater.
You
Yeah,
say
theater freaks me out.
Yeah.
What about when you heard
Theater.
book sack for the first
That
time?
freaks me the fuck out.
What,
It's
backpack?
backpack. Yeah, I'm like,
Book
what's
sack.
a book sack?
Well,
I'm
here's
like,
the- I used
I'm
to
like,
be-
I get it. I can put 2 and 2 together. I'm not dumb, but yeah.
Here's it. I
what it
used to
is.
be.
That's
I
definitely not it. Yeah, it's
I used to be a
definitely
book
backpack,
sack.
yeah.
I used to be a book sack guy, and then I started playing with everybody, and everybody kept saying backpack, and I've adopted
made the
backpack.
mental switch?
I made the
Yeah,
switch
but
to
see now
backpack.
I'm so now I
It's
say
book
book sack
sack.
sometimes. Yeah, I'm like I don't.
Now
like
he
it. I'm not
switched back
proud.
then.
Yeah,
You say
I'm
y'all?
not proud.
You say y'all now?
I do say y'all.
That's okay. That's
I
fine.
do say y'all. I like y'all.
Yeah.
My dog.
I like
say
y'all.
soda, pop,
I like y'all.
Coke,
Huh?
soda.
That one freaks me. That one still freaks me
I don't.
out.
Say, I call it whatever it is.
I just don't. I don't understand that layer. You go to a restaurant and you're like, "Hey, can I get you a drink?" Yeah, I'll have a Coke. And they're like, "What kind?" And you're like, "Sprite." No, just order from the beginning. I'll take a Sprite.
Yeah. That's what I say. I've never said
All right.
Coke.
I don't get
Coke
that.
or
here's
Diet
this
Coke
one.
or
I'll
Diet
get you with
Coke.
this one
That
now.
one.
Sneakers or tennis shoes?
Don't start. I didn't even know the term tennis shoes ever until I got down
Blowing
here.
my mind.
Sneakers or tennis
Bro,
shoes?
I'm telling you, when I got to college and they were like, "What size tennis shoes do you have?" I remember looking at Micah Gibbs and being like, "Are we playing tennis?" Like, I remember being like, "What do they mean? Why are they asking about tennis shoes?" Like, I literally had the feeling of your heart sinking to your stomach of like, I have to
do
play
that.
tennis. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know I had to do this. Yeah. I swear to God, on my life. Yeah, so no,
Sneakers, bro. What
tennis
you talking
shoes.
about?
I've not adopted tennis shoes. It's sneakers all day, every day.
I just say
Anything
shoes.
other than yeah,
I
me
just
too.
say shoes.
I would never say tennis shoes. Yeah,
just say
ever.
shoes.
That one blows my mind.
I like it.
That one blows my mind.
That's funny.
That one will never come. That'll never come out of my mouth ever in my life. That'll never come out of my
Oh, I
mouth.
love that.
Okay, so my curtain call.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So my current call, I played some golf this weekend. I've been playing a lot of golf to try to get better. They tell me the more you play golf and the more work you put in the golf, the better you're going to get.
reps.
I have not seen that result yet.
You know you're still
Right?
playing with.
I have my moments. I have my things that I'm doing, right? I was in a tournament this weekend. And Saturday was is about as bad as you can get. Sunday was really good.
Made adjustments.
We made big adjustments. I think there was some factors that happened on Saturday that contributed to the bad play.
I got you.
Sunday was an earlier start, and I think that was a big reason why those factors did not come into play again on Sunday.
What a time to kill.
Right? Exactly. So, in the spirit of golf, my curtain call is to Viktor Hovland. And if you did not pay attention to what Viktor Hovland did, he was in the BMW Championship, which this is the FedEx Championship, like the playoffs, right? So every week there's a tournament, and I think there's the top 30 of this tournament move on to the next week.
Big payday.
Big payday if you win the whole thing. I think it's like $30 million or $20-something million from the FedEx
That's
if
fun.
you win the whole thing, right? And Viktor Hovland started the day, I think he was 4 or 5 back from the lead, right? He's having a pretty good front 9. Then he hits the back 9. So par of the back 9 was 35, right? There's 9 holes. You have to get, if you want to shoot par on the back 9, you shoot 35. This man shot 28. He had 7 of the 9 holes he birdied, right? And he zooms all the way through, sets the course record for 61.
That was set the previous day by Max Homa.
That was set the previous day by Max Homa. Passes everybody up and wins the BMW Championship.
Sheesh.
And, like, it was, if you enjoy golf, even if you just enjoy sports, like, it was pretty impressive. So that's my curtain call.
Yeah, you don't even have to watch highlights because the whole round is that's how fast you can play a round of golf. And even, I think Matthew Fitzpatrick came in second, who was in the lead.
Shit.
And yeah, he saw
Him and Scheffler, they both tied for second.
Yeah, he saw him after, and he like obviously those guys all like each other when you're on the tour, and you see something like that, you realize how impressive it is. He's like, "You little shit," and he's like, "You're not mad at him, but you're just like, I feel like I had this thing kind of wrapped up in my."
Well, you
I
can't
didn't
do
see
it.
a
When
61 coming.
When somebody does that in golf, you can't do anything.
No,
Yeah.
and he's like, I
can't
got
do
mowed
that.
down by 61. He goes, that's exactly what he says. Like, I didn't see. There's something I can do about that.
Yeah, you
I
can't
didn't-
expect 61 to happen.
I can shoot
but-
68 and feel like I'm playing great, and I should be able to coast to a victory. 61, you kind of got clipped.
No doubt.
Like, oh, you
Got no
shit.
answer for that.
Yeah.
You're like, I wasn't
And he
prepared
gets a
for
huge payday.
that. Yeah.
And Victor also might do some extracurriculars if you ever seen his eyeballs. That man
here we
can't
go.
hold them open.
Here we go.
I think that's just the way it is. But he also wears some outrageous outfits. His
Yeah, he
Sunday
needs a
outfit
new
actually
deal.
wasn't bad. It was
like
actually
Ricky
very,
Fowler level, or what we
Maybe
talking?
worse.
Ooh,
I think
wow.
it's worse than Ricky Fowler.
Omega.
Ricky just likes the orange, so it's really pops. Viktor Hovland wears some crazy combinations.
It's Norwegian.
He's very good at golf.
Yeah.
Very
He's got
good.
a
He's made a
different
lot of money.
style. He does not care, which I respect the most about him.
He doesn't. He looks like a dude, like one of us, like just hanging out. Yeah, which I respect.
Yeah, he looks like a Saturday round guy.
Yeah. Great show today. Welcome back to the show. Well, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. We will be back live on Wednesday.
Miraculous.
We will not be live this Friday. I apologize. I will be out of town. Lloyd will be out of town as well.
I would have stayed.
So like
You
our,
were staying.
no, you wouldn't have. Our production. This is a last little, move, vacation, whatever you want to call it, before
What are you doing Friday?
the stretch of being on the way back from Chicago.
Seeing
Oh, that's right.
pictures.
You just
Yeah,
said that.
so I won't
Pixar
be- I won't
didn't
be back
happen.
in time. But
Whatever.
once football season starts, the stretch run's happening, so this is our last little bit. But we will have a show on Wednesday. Hopefully we can do something and give you some content on Friday that we can post out for you, maybe an interview, maybe something. We are in the works of trying to get somebody here to do that. But we appreciate you. We love you. We respect you. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That thumbs up really helps us out a lot. If you can't watch us and you like to listen to us, we're anywhere you get your pods. And
Thank you, Anthony.
thank you, Anthony. Thanks for jumping on the show.
Always.
Thank you to our sponsors, for everybody being a part of the show. We could not be here or do this without you. And we have a lot of really cool things up on the horizon, and we're looking forward to sharing it with you.
Oh, no, not Chris Hansen.
Have a great rest of the week, and peace.
Sometimes we need a producer for the producer.
And we had one today.